Hey, everybody. Welcome to FL Teams Live. We're coming at you today with a special NFL preseason power rankings heading into the 2022 season. I'm excited to be here with Jeremiah Hensley, who you probably know from FL Teams. Of course, the king and president and founder and everything else of FL Teams, Isaac Edelman, is here.
Young
And I
goat.
am, and I'm just Jeff Macolino. Uh, so what we're gonna do, we all have our 32 teams ranked from 1 to 32. We're gonna start off at the bottom and work our way up. We're just gonna kind of run through the list. We'll see where we have some disagreements, and we may call that out. Feel free, if you're following this live, to give us comments and tell us how stupid we are or how smart we are. But comments don't tend to go that way for some reason. It's a weird world, huh? So, and then at the end, we'll be keeping track of where we have them ranked, and we can maybe look at some people who are crazy about certain teams, good or bad. And who knows, they might be right. You guys ready to get rolling?
Yeah, let's go.
Absolutely.
Well, let's start off at the bottom of the barrel. And I guess for consistency, we'll go from, my right to left, which would be Jeremiah, leading things off. Who do you have as the worst team in the NFL heading into the 2022 season?
It's going to be a long year in Chicago. The Chicago Bears are bad. They're bad all the way around. They had one playmaker and he's gone. The poor running back is just going to get beat to death. Justin, it doesn't help when your rookie quarterback comes out and goes, "We're just not where we want to be," and you're 2 weeks from the season. It's not good. It's not good. So Chicago to me is absolutely at the bottom of the barrel.
Isaac, what do you have?
Okay, I'm going to go somewhere different here. Look, their QB is entering their second year. He was actually amazing last season, but no weapons at all. A weak running back room. I'm going with the Houston Texans at number 32.
Well, I want to stand up for USF's Marlon Mack for a second there and say I disagree with you on the running back room in Houston. I'm going a third direction, although I almost had the Bears there. I actually am putting the Seahawks at the number 32 spot. Still don't know whether Drew Lock or Geno Smith is going to be their quarterback. And guess what that means? They're going to have a bad quarterback either way. They lost Bobby Wagner. They're in a tough division. Everything going against them. They should be tanking, frankly, with the roster that they have this year. So Seahawks, my number 32 team. So let's keep it rolling. I think we all agree those three teams all suck.
Oh, yeah. They're going to be coming up in some form here.
Yeah, very soon.
Exactly.
Jeremiah, who you got 31, the second worst team in the NFL?
The Atlanta Falcons. There's no reason for them to try to compete. There's zero reason to do it. You talked about a running back room. I mean, I think they're going to run Cordero Patterson out again. And Calvin Ridley suspended for the year for gambling. So what do you got? You got a rookie wide receiver and a tight end being thrown to by Marcus Mariota? No, bad.
Okay.
Isaac?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the second worst team. I'm going to go with what Jeff had as the worst team, the Seahawks at 31. Yeah, like you said, bad QB either way. What makes it worse, Chris Carson retired. They still have 2-star wide receivers, but with the bad QB, there's no purpose of having them. And I bet you at least one out of the 2 wide receivers will get traded. Again, that's DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. So, yeah, Seahawks at 31 for me.
I'm still shocked that Lockett wasn't traded at draft time, honestly. 31, I don't need to talk much about him because Jeremiah already mentioned him. Chicago Bears. Yeah, I have nothing good to say about the Chicago Bears right now. Poor Justin Fields is not being put in a position to succeed. I guess that's all I'll say. Jeremiah, the 30th best team in the National Football League. What do you have?
Pre-show we talked about when the name would come up, so I might as well be the one. The Cleveland Browns are the 30th team because Deshaun Watson is not playing this year. And when Deshaun doesn't play this year, Cleveland is going to be bad. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but Amari Cooper's already banged up too, right? So, I mean, your playmakers are down. Your quarterback's not going to be there. And, I think Cleveland is absolutely just going to be trash.
Isaac?
Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, I guess I'm not going to talk a lot here because it was already mentioned. Give me the Bears at 30.
I think that makes the Bears our consensus bottom team if you put all of our rankings together. Coming in at 32nd, 31st, and 30th on the ballots.
I had them rated as the best out of all of us.
You
so
did?
There we go.
All the way up at 30th.
You believe in Justin Fields.
Yes.
I
believe. Hey, this is who I believe in. Darnell Mooney. Breakout season incoming.
They're going to be behind, so they are going to throw a lot.
Yeah.
Fantasy-wise, Darnell Mooney could be a hell of a pick.
Sure. Hey, David Montgomery did wonders for me last year in fantasy. So.
Yeah.
I don't need to say much about this trashy organization, but I'm surprised. Well, I guess I'm not surprised. I have them ranked one higher than Jeremiah. The Atlanta Falcons are 30th. I strongly considered them also to be the 32nd team, honestly. They're another team that has no reason to try this year, and they didn't seem to try to build a team to even attempt to actually win games. It's kind of a head-scratching organization, but that's what they're just losers. That's what the Falcons are. Bucs fans and Saints fans can agree about that. So, Falcons.
The biggest head scratcher, was still going to come is if you're the Falcons, how long do you keep Desmond Ridder on the sideline? You're not going to compete with Mariota or him, right? So how long before you give the young kid the ball?
Good question.
From training camp, there's some good things coming out about it. I mean, they're still going to be trash, but you might as well do what Houston did and be trash with a young quarterback.
Yep.
If they can keep them safe, I don't think it'll be long before they roll them out there. And Mariota's not in a position to succeed either, which is unfortunate because this is probably his last chance really to be a starter. But it's the way it goes. The NFL, not for long, right? Jeremiah, who do you have at number 29?
The higher than you guys go, man. Houston Texans. They didn't get worse. They didn't get worse. They were depleted all the way last year. And Davis Mills really put up some numbers that under the radar are scary good. I think they're going to fight, and I think they're better than the three I've got there. So, I mean, I believe in Davis Mills enough to make them 29.
Isaac?
Well, I'm glad I'm the first person to bring this team up. Give me the one and only New York Jets. Hey, look, here at 29, I feel like that's definitely lower on the list than most people. But hey, Zach Wilson is actually, and I read a good article about this weekend. He's getting more love than he should, and that's unusual in the NFL. You usually get more hate than you should. So he's getting more love than he should. There's a lot of love around rookie Elijah Moore as well. I'm not feeling it. So right now, give me the Jets at 29. They're a very young team, but they don't have any stars yet, and I just don't see them building stars right away. The closest they'll get is either Zach Wilson or Elijah Moore, but not this season. Definitely not.
Look, Isaac, I can't let it go. Zach Wilson does get a lot of love from the moms. The moms. That's my boy.
Also, I will say, I told you I was tweaking my list with Becton being out for the season. Zach Wilson having that injury that I don't know if he's going to be ready to start of the season. I actually dropped the Jets down a few spots, but still above where you have them. I put the Washington Commanders at number 29, which I debated because I do think they have a solid defense. I hate their offense. I think they made the absolute worst quarterback move of any team that needed a quarterback aside from maybe the Browns this offseason. Just an abysmal decision to trade for Carson Wentz when Matt Ryan was still available back then. Jimmy Garoppolo is still available. Baker Mayfield, all these guys are better. Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota were still free agents when they made the move to get Wentz. Horrible decision. Another horrible franchise that's just, never going to get out of their own way, in my opinion. So that's where I have the Washington Commanders at 29. All right. Awesome number 28. What do you got, Jeremiah?
I wanted to put them higher, man. I really did. I really do like what they're doing, and I think they're going to be better than people think. And maybe I'm way off, but Jacksonville at 28. I mean, I do like what they're doing. I think Travis Etienne in a full season is going to be surprising to a lot of people. I think they'll actually use James Robinson. I think Trevor Lawrence can only take a step forward. So, I mean, and defensively, they put some pieces together. I think Jacksonville's just one of those teams, like Isaac mentioned, the Jets. They're so young, and with a new staff, it's going to be a year or two.
Isaac, what do you have?
At 28, give me the Falcons. Yeah, I know you guys had them lower than me, but honestly, Mariota isn't the worst. And yeah, they're going to rely on Cordell Patterson most of the season. But hey, one bright spot, Kyle Pitts. I mean, he's already a top 5 NFL tight end. Look, I hate to say he's going to put up big numbers this year, but it's not going to take them anywhere, right? So I feel bad for Pitts. Obviously, we love him here at FL Teams. Gators legend. But yeah, hey, it doesn't matter how many yards, how many records, how many anything Kyle Pitts puts up. The Falcons are just there, man. Obviously, look, I mean, I'm surprised they got rid of Mike Davis because he didn't have the best season last year. Obviously, he was really good with Carolina when Christian McCaffrey got injured. But I just feel like the Falcons need someone. We obviously know what happened to Calvin Ridley. So, really, no weapons at all. The Falcons are a team that I would have, like, maybe at 20 if they had, like, one good wide. If Calvin Ridley was playing, they'd definitely be a few spots up. Marcus Mariota isn't the worst. He can run, he can pass. But again, no weapons besides Kyle Pitts, and he's probably going to be double teamed every single game.
Yeah, and the Falcons are the second team to, I believe, have appeared now on all 3 of our power rankings. So, boo to them. I'm the first one to name this team at 28. I got the New York Giants. I just don't. I don't see. I try to keep seeing it in Daniel Jones, and I kind of want to see it, but I don't. So I don't know. Again, that seems to be a franchise that's kind of been letting in a lot of water lately, and I just don't. I don't see them getting any better. The only thing they have going for them is they're in the worst division in the NFL, I think, by far. The NFC East continues to be the worst division, it seems, year after year. So I have them only the second worst team in the division. So there you go. There's your feather in your cap, I guess. Let's move on to 27. Jeremiah, who do you have there?
That is our Washington football team, Commanders, whatever they might be. You said it best. I think they, when you're this low, your quarterback choices make a difference, and you're not going to compete. You do have a good defense, but again, no identity at running back, right? And I don't know what to make of McLaurin. I really don't. I think you've got young quarterbacks on that roster who deserve a shot, and you're just going to roll out Carson Wentz for whatever reason. I mean, I'd feel better about them if they had Taylor Heineke leading the way. I really would. But Washington, I think, is absolutely horrible in a horrible division.
Isaac?
Okay, 27. I'm going to go with a team that could have easily been 32. Credit to them for moving up a lot of spots. They have a new coach, second-year quarterback, the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I think that it comes down to this. The Jaguars have Christian Kirk, and that's it.
Yeah, no,
You talk about Deshaun Watson coming up on all of our broadcasts, not as much as Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
As much as we talk about him, like, honest to goodness, what kind of year would Christian Kirk have to have for all of us to be like, oh, that was worth it? It doesn't matter what he does. Like, he's not going to live up to it.
So, yeah, look, with the Jaguars at 27, credit to them for not being 32. They could have easily been. But new head coach, I mean, they're trying. I mean, Evan Ingram is it's a move that, like, it makes sense for a team trying to win, right? A team that needs to win the Jaguars need to win, yes. But you get what I'm saying? Like, that are actually in playoff position. They're not going to get Ingram. So, the moves the Jaguars made make sense, right? ETN, Robinson in the backfield, that's good. The quarterback situation is good. Like, Trevor Lawrence isn't bad at all. I think the Jaguars are trying, and that's why 27, I think, is a step in the right direction for this Jacksonville team.
Well, my bottom 5 teams were all NFC teams, so 27 is my first AFC team. So the worst in the AFC is I have the Houston Texans, which I think we all I think that's the third team to now be on all of our ballots. I have them higher than you guys, but only in the technicality that I just felt like the bottom 5 had to be NFC teams because it's so much. Like, I'm sure the Texans' record will be lower than some of those teams I rank below them. That doesn't mean they're a worse team. It means they're in a harder conference. So I have the Texans at 27.
But the Texans are in an easy division, by the way.
Sure, the easiest in the AFC, but that's still would be the second hardest, I think, if not the hardest in the NFC.
I think that's going to be an interesting division, Isaac, man. I know we'll break it more, but I think Jacksonville actually could make some noise in that, man. They could, who knows what kind of a jump Trevor Lawrence makes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And hey, let's be honest. You have one weapon at wide receiver, Christian Kirk. Ingram was a Pro Bowler not that long ago, and 2 good running backs. It's possible. I'm not going to say it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. But it's definitely possible because they have what it takes. Now, what it takes, that's a long ways to go.
And Doug Peterson, man. I mean, Peterson knows how to rally. He knows how to rally a squad.
Yeah. You beat the Patriots in a Super Bowl game. You must be good.
Dougie P. There you go, Steve. Exactly.
Jeremiah, who do you have at 26?
That's the Giants. I'm with you, Jeff. I just can't fall in love with Daniel Jones. People keep telling me he's pretty, but I don't see it. Like, I just can't see it. And outside of that, Saquon Barkley, man, God, what hopes you had for Barkley. He's a guy that was routinely, if we talk fantasy, like drafted number 1 or 2, and now nobody wants to touch him. You're just like, nah, we're good. Nah. I mean, and if he goes down again, no offense. They're done.
Isaac's too young to get this, Jeremiah, but Daniel Jones is like the Alicia Silverstone of quarterbacks. Keep telling me she's great, but I don't see it with my own eyes.
You can't see it.
Not quite.
So,
Isaac's like, what are these old guys talking about? Isaac, who do you have at 26?
Well, for the first time in this show, I think we've agreed. 2 of us have agreed on a team. So, Jeremiah, fist bump right here. Yes. Giants at 26.
Nice. And they I had them at 28, so we're pretty close. And in fairness, I also have a New York team at 26.
Okay.
I put the Jets there.
Okay.
Yeah, and honestly, I mentioned this earlier. I had the Jets 3 spots higher. Becton going out. I think they built a good O-line. I kind of disagree with you, Isaac. I think they got a bunch of superstars. Maybe not this year, but they got they got Sauce Gardner in the draft. They got I'm blanking on his name, out of FSU, the pass rusher late in the first round. They got Breece Hall, and I'm missing on the other guy they got in the draft. They cleaned up in the draft. I mean, again, they're all
they
rookies.
had a great draft. I remember. I mean, we obviously did our draft shows on FL teams. Yeah, the Jets definitely won the draft. But hey, even if they're gonna have stars, and maybe I'm wrong on that take, I don't think that changes anything.
Not this year. Yeah,
exactly.
Not this year. I know. I agree with you. I think they will be more competitive. But yeah, they also have a curse. And yes, Steve, that's an apt comparison. I was going to say Renee Zellweger as well, but they all they're the same.
We keep throwing one out there. We'll find a girl that Isaac knows.
Yeah, we got to fast forward 20 years.
I know. Where are we at?
We are at 25. What do you have, Jeremiah?
Probably it's higher than everybody else, but Seattle. Seattle finds a way to compete and stay around. I just think they're better than the Giants and all the other teams I have below them. You've got playmakers on the outside, and there's an off chance. Look, I'm a fan of gunslingers, and Drew Lock just had a little bit of swag when he got a chance in Denver. And even if he throws some interceptions, he's got playmakers, man. And I want to see Drew Lock just let it go, and I think they'll compete. Not well, but at 25.
I have a question for you. Why so high? Like, why? What like drags them to be that high?
Part of it is that I think more of Drew Lock than I think most people do.
Okay, fair enough.
I liked Drew Lock when he got a chance in Denver, and he's got some playmakers.
Okay, that's your answer. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's the answer for it. We'll see. He could absolutely explode.
No, that's an acceptable answer. Nice.
Yeah, and he's got weapons. You're right.
At 25, this team hasn't been mentioned. I think it's going to be mentioned just about soon. I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers because, look, I'm a big fan of DJ Moore. I love that guy. I'd say he's a top 15 receiver in the NFL. Mm-hmm. McCaffrey, we know enough about him to say that he's a top running back if healthy, but he usually is for the first part of the season.
Big if.
And yeah, that's about it. We know their QB situation, Darnold, Mayfield. Look, whatever it is, like they have options. I don't think that the week, like obviously if Mayfield starts, Darnold starts. I don't think the starter is going to matter for Carolina. And it's not necessarily because they have no weapons. It's just that they're not making the playoffs. Honestly, Mayfield, obviously, I think is going to make a bigger difference than Darnold. I think we can agree on that. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's that big of a difference to change my ranking. Seriously. Like, I think, well, first of all, me ranking the Panthers here at 25, I think that's just considering that they have 2 QBs and 2 options. So, I don't know. I just think that the Panthers at 25 is so fair. Obviously, they have some good players. I think Stephon Gilmore is still in the Panthers, right? Maybe? No?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so, yeah. They got him last year.
So,
yeah.
Hey, I mean, if he gets a lot of interceptions, I know he's a few years, past that prime stage. I wouldn't be surprised. So
they got Horn, that young kid, too, who got injured last year.
Yeah, exactly. So, look, the Panthers right here, I think 25 is very fair, and I think that their QB situation is just accurate for where I rank them.
Yeah, Isaac, this was a team, just to tell you, I actually had the Panthers at 25, and I moved them up 2 spots yesterday, giving them a couple spots for Baker, and I accidentally just gave away my list, but I'm sure everyone thought I had the Panthers top 10. I have the Jaguars at 25 to round out the Jacksonville. I have them higher than – I have them the highest, so I'm Andrew Reshman's favorite panelist, obviously, here. Again, I still have them the 3rd lowest in the AFC. I don't know that there's much more to be said that hasn't been said. I could see them competing because the Texans are bad, and I think the Titans could be bad. But they've got to play a lot of games in that conference, not just in their division. And I think they're a year away from being a real, knock on playoff door potential team. So I like where they're headed, like you guys said, just not there yet. Jeremiah, we are at 24.
And this is going to be sacrilege when I steal your line of I like where they're headed, but they're not there yet. Jets, Jets, man. They scared. Look, this is the last year that I feel like Miami can just steamroll them. Michael Carter and Breece Hall in that backfield, that's a 1-2 punch. Michael Carter, people forget about how good he was at Carolina because Javonte Williams was in front of him. Michael Carter's a stud. And, and then you add Breece Hall to that, Elijah Moore. They've got playmakers all over the place. Then you put Sauce Gardner, you bring the D line. I mean, they're young, and the coach, like he's a fiery guy. I think the Jets, they're just not there yet, especially if Zach Wilson's actually hurt. And or if Zach Wilson is not as good as, he could be Sam Darnold 2.0. We don't know. But they've got playmakers, though, man. I think the Jets are coming up.
Agreed. Isaac, what do you have there?
I'm the only one that didn't mention this team yet, and I'm fine with that. Washington Commanders here at 24. Look, yeah, Carson Wentz at quarterback, not the best, but Terry McLaurin, that's a weapon that a lot of teams don't have, especially, that's tough. Metcalf might be better. I don't know, but he's definitely one of the best wide receivers out of the teams we've said so far. Mm-hmm. And I think it's as simple as this. The Commanders' defense is what holds them up this high in the list. Again, I have the Commanders at 24. You guys had it much lower, but the defense is just what keeps them up here. Chase Young, amazing. They have a lot of other nice cornerbacks. And look, again, Antonio Gibson, average running back. And you know what? That's fine with me. But my concern is the passing game, because Wentz, I don't know how much he has left in him. And Heineke's the backup. I just wish they, had some Fitz magic left. I wish Ryan Fitzpatrick returned for another season. But hey, it is what it is. Again, I have the Commanders here at 24. And I don't regret it because their defense is pretty solid. And I think their defense is probably the best out of the teams we've mentioned thus far.
Well, and look, to wrap it up, because we're done with Washington after this, I do like their defense, but I think Wentz's 3 and outs are going to gas that team. He has a way of just, we saw it in Miami how many times, man. We had a really good defense, but if you're on the field for 3/4 of the game, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
Wears you down. And there's really no shocking teams here from 24 to 32 on our lists. Frankly, we're all pretty similar. We all agree, nobody has a real outlier here. My 24th team is the Browns. And that shows you how much the quarterback situation matters. And especially when you're going from a Deshaun Watson to a Jacoby Brissett situation, because they'd probably be top 10 or close to it if Deshaun Watson was there. I'm assuming he's not going to be for longer than the 6 games. So I have them at 24. A shame. Now, if they acquire Jimmy Garoppolo, which I know has been a rumor, I'd bump them up for sure, because they've got a lot of weapons. They've got 3 talented running backs. They've got Cooper, if he can stay healthy. He seems to kind of be a guy who is constantly banged up, and if I'm remembering correctly. So Cleveland, I have them at 24. Number 23, Jeremiah, what do you got?
Man, it's like, I love your segues, because this team, if they had Jimmy Garoppolo, I'd put way higher. The Detroit Lions. The only thing holding me back on the Lions, the only thing, is Jared Goff. I just don't trust him. I don't like him. I think DeAndre Swift's going to have a heck of a year. And Dan Campbell, we saw it in a brief time. If you watched Hard Knocks, you see it. You saw it last year. They lost like 6 games by 1 score, and they had no reason to be in those games. Detroit's going to fight. And if they had a quarterback that could be trusted to manage a game, I think that they could absolutely. I don't like. We'll get into that, but I don't like the NFC North. I think it's trash. But yeah, I like the Lions. But at 23,
you stole my thunder.
Yeah,
you have the Lions.
Lions.
Wow,
yeah, I do. You know what? Goff is definitely overhated because
he is.
Isn't the worst. He isn't as bad as people make it like he is. he's pretty bad, but not as bad as people make him. But
I
look,
think he's better. I'll take him over Jimmy Garoppolo all day. I would argue that.
It's just me. If we saw the quarterback rankings, I just don't like Jared Goff. I don't know why.
Hey, but look, the Lions, I mean, again, I talked about this with the Jets. It's just, this is 2022 to 2023 NFL season rankings. But they're going to get a good QB very soon. And their weapons are very young, and they're going to have good weapons soon. Jameson Williams from Alabama, now on the Lions, he's going to be talented. Potentially a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. I don't see why not. DJ Chark, I feel like, he's just going to help out. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this guy's name right, but Ahmed
St. Brown.
Yeah,
yeah.
He's not that
Brown,
bad.
yeah.
He's not that bad at all.
He's very good. Yeah.
Yeah. And Aiden Hutchinson, Panay Sewell.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it. Now, look, I also want to bring up someone who a lot of people forget, TJ Hawkinson. You know something? The Lions, just saying this out loud, I want to move them up on this list, but no, I'm going to keep them at 23, but I really hope they can get past 20 even. But look, TJ Hawkinson, DeAndre Swift, Jameson Williams, not bad at all. They just need a new QB, and I think they're going to get that guy in the next year's draft.
You hit the nail on the head too. The line. All right, people forget, while everybody else was passing on Sewell, who everybody was ready to put a bust in Canton for this guy, the Lions put him in. The Lions' offensive line is not bad. And then you add Aiden Hutchinson to the other side. I have to just throw one quick thing in. Look, Steve, I see you, buddy. Like, two Dolphin fans, Jacoby Brissett versus Baker Mayfield. We would have took Baker Mayfield. The Dolphins would have been in the playoffs with Mayfield as a backup. Brissett is awful. Sorry. Comments.
Yeah, no, I agree with you too. I saw that. I'm like, I'd take Baker 20 million times higher than Brissett, and the Browns.
That makes Tua look really
Baker
bad because I said
Baker
Brissett was better than Tua
last year.
You say everybody's better than Tua. Isaac is a Tua hater.
Isaac wants me to play quarterback for the Dolphins this year over Tua, I think. We came so close to all agreeing on this 23rd pick. I'm giving it away. I was one up with the Lions, but number 23, I have the Panthers. Going back to Baker Mayfield, I do think the Panthers have a decent defense. I do think they've got that going for them. They've got, in the NFC South, there's kind of two teams that have things together and two teams that don't. I would say the Panthers have way better building blocks than the Falcons, if you're comparing those two organizations. If one of those teams were to compete to maybe sneak in as the seventh team in the NFC, a much weaker conference, I wouldn't be stunned if it was the Panthers. The bottom five teams, I would be stunned if any of those made it. The Panthers, just a step above them. And I think I have them higher than, or no, they haven't been on Jeremiah's list yet. So I do not have them the highest of all of us. So Panthers at 23, Jeremiah 22. Is it the Panthers?
It is. Look, but here's the thing. We all know how I feel. We just said about Drew Lock. I think Baker Mayfield is going to have an enormous chip on his shoulder. And when Baker plays that way, it's different. I mean, again, there's just certain guys like I want my quarterback to maybe not make the throws that Baker makes, but I want him to act like Baker. I want him fired up on the sidelines. I want him running receivers down. I want this guy who has that kind of passion. Now, I think if McCaffrey stays healthy, there's no reason in the world that they can't make the playoffs. The Panthers are a really tough call because it's a big swing. I don't think it's close between him and Darnold, by the way. I think they're completely different. The team changes completely. Darnold is this calm, cool, sometimes scared and sees ghost, and you've got Mayfield who's just like he's a dog. I think Carolina's got a real good chance of being way higher than this.
I can see it. Isaac, what do you have? Who do you have at 22?
Well, I am gonna bring up a team that hasn't been mentioned yet, and I think this is gonna give it away. The following sentence, and I'll say it now: the lack of communication as to who's the QB concerns me. Could you guys take a guess?
There's a lot.
San Francisco?
That is true.
Right.
The 49ers.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Like Trey Lance, we've seen very little of it. But you know what? And it's good for him. Like major props. His first play in the NFL was that touchdown in the first game of the season. He had a touchdown pass. And that just sticks in my head like, wow, maybe he's good. It was just one play, but I don't know. We've seen way too little of him. And Garoppolo, we know he's an average QB at best, actually. And he'll just bring you as far as the weapons will bring you. Deebo Samuel, I love Deebo Samuel. I have his autograph. He's amazing. Guess what? No Mike McDaniel. Sorry, Deebo Samuel. Your guy, Mike McDaniel's gone. But hey, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk even. It's good, but you know what? Let's be honest. The lack of communication at your most important position kills me. Because I don't think Trey Lance is going to be that good of a QB. And I could have said I think he's going to be a great QB. We don't know. And what we do know is Garoppolo's not a good QB. And that's not bad because you know what? He'll bring you as far as the weapons will bring you, right? They made the Super Bowl.
And the NFC Championship game last year.
Exactly. But you know what? If Trey Lance better than Garoppolo, the 49ers could definitely be higher on this list. But again, I don't know what's happening with the 49ers. I don't know what direction they're headed in. Right? They're not trading pieces away. They're not even trading Garoppolo away. That's the problem, though.
Yeah. They're a team I had a hard time ranking. I already gave away my 22nd team, the Lions. I think offensively, they are actually going to be one of the better teams in the NFC. Not maybe consistently, but offensively, I think their problem is going to be defense. I think they're going to give up too much. Their biggest issue last year, honestly, was not being able to close out games. They lost so many heartbreaking games, at the end. It's a more talented team than it was last year. I don't think they've got quite enough on defense yet. But that being said, they're in a division with the Bears, who I think were our consensus worst team in the league. The Vikings, who we'll touch on them later. I could see a wide gap of where they could be top to bottom. And frankly, same with the Packers. I think offensively, the Packers are probably lower than the Lions. I mean, that's how low I think the Packers are right now on offense. I do think the Packers have the best defense in the division by far. And I think, we'll get to the Packers later, but the Lions, kind of like I said with the Panthers, if they were sneaking around for that 7th playoff spot, I would not be shocked at all at the end of the year. We're up to number 21, almost to the top 20. Jeremiah, what you got?
This one makes me so happy. And those who know me and the suffering that I've been through will understand this. The Pittsburgh Steelers. I cannot wait for the Pittsburgh Steelers to have a horrible year. I can't wait for Tomlin to have a losing season. And I hope Flores wears half of that. Like, they're going to be bad. It is what it is. You can say what you want about Kenny Pickett, maybe in a year or two, okay? And everybody's talking about the wide receiver that they drafted late. No, Chase Claypool's fine. He's a Notre Dame guy.
Oh.
Hopefully he'll get out of there. But no, the Pickens guy, I think. The Pickens, the wide receiver, whatever. Yeah. Najee. I hear you. I think their offensive line is bad. It's been bad. They didn't do anything to get better. I don't think the defense is good. So I love it. I just want Pittsburgh to have a horrible, dumpster fire year.
Tell us how you really feel. Isaac, who do you have 21?
Give me a second here. Look.
Oh!
Is that a serious ranking right there?
Yes.
Wow. All right. It's got
Look,
interesting.
we have to make this show fun. This is what FL Teams is. Give me the Saints at 21. Look. That's all I have to say. Let Jeff wonder what I'm thinking.
You have nothing intelligent to say. Clearly.
Okay, now that he makes that comment, I have to provide my reasoning, right? Okay, here we go.
Tell me why the best defense in the NFL is number 21 in your power rankings, please.
Amari Cooper is better than Michael Thomas, and you put the Browns way lower than the Saints. So, hey, but in all seriousness, I did put the Saints here. Here at 21. You know, I've said this on the show before. We've had this written down. I'm a fan of Winston, right? I'm fine with his interception.
Clearly.
No. Yeah, the video I showed was obviously the best thing I could do. But honestly, I don't see the Saints doing anything. Michael Thomas is going to get injured. I don't know when. And let's be honest here. You have no Kamara. Are you?
What?
No.
We have Kamara.
Yeah, he's there.
But
do we also lose Cam Jordan to Mario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu, Marshawn Lattimore? Do I need to keep naming names?
Look, Isaac, okay. I think the only legitimate argument you had was Jameis Winston, and you said you liked him.
Yeah, right? Just say I think Jameis is going to throw 30 picks, and let's move on.
Do you know who my real team was at 21?
Oh, was that a joke?
Yes.
Oh. See, you had him just at the point where I'm like,
God, so I did good. I did good.
Well played.
Awesome.
Well played.
You did awesome.
My 21 team is the Steelers.
Oh.
So yeah, I planned this out well, as you can tell. Look, the Steelers for me, you know, Mason Rudolph is not good. So you're really leaving it up to Mitchell Trubisky or Kenny Pickett. But, you know, in my eyes, Chase Claypool just had an amazing rookie season. There's not a lot of him. Pickens is good, but how many times do I have to say this on this show? I do not believe in rookie seasons unless you're Jamar Chase going off in your rookie season. So, Again, this is power rankings just for the upcoming season. I am not that high on the Steelers, and I don't think a lot of people are, right? You could say that Najee Harris is a top running back because he is, but that can only go so far. And the Steelers do not have as top of a defense as they did years ago, right? Consecutive years, their defense was so elite. Now, I mean, their defense, I think, would still be above average, right? I mean, they still have Minkah Fitzpatrick, but they're not as good as they were in the past. You know, we were all hoping that Devin Bush would take that leap, but Devin Bush hasn't. And you know what? The Steelers are just done, right? Big Ben's gone. And, I mean, he had to be gone. He's old at this point. But the Steelers, I don't know. You know, they have a top running back. Pickett could be a top QB. But I think Pickett can't be better than a Justin Herbert. I don't think Pickett could be better than Trevor Lawrence. Pickett's just not that guy. He just isn't.
No. Well, one of the reasons I was upset when you put the Saints there is I'm like, oh, I thought we might have our first unanimous pick. And we do. The Steelers. That's why I have a 21 also. I was talking about them earlier today, and I'm like, they'll steal some games. TJ Watt will go off and get 5 sacks, and Pickett will have a day. You know, he'll have a few of those. They're not a 3-win team. They're probably a 5 to 9 win team. I'll be generous in that range. But just looking at the teams I have in front of them, there's no way I can say, looking at them, they are a better team than any team I have in the top 20. So we have our first unanimous pick at 21. We all have the Steelers. So that means they're probably going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Shut up, man. Don't do that to me.
Oh God.
We're into the top 20. Jeremiah, who do you got?
The New England Patriots. For me, when I got to read reports out of camp that are telling me like how great, how quickly they leave my head. Our wide receiver that was traded to New England. Like when you're going to tell me Devontae Parker is going to be your weapon. Okay. I've seen that, right? I mean, he could Wes Welker. He could go Wes Welker on us, but chances are Devontae Parker's going to be hurt. Mac Jones is another one of those Daniel Jones, the Jones boys. I don't see it. Like, I mean, Belichick will find a way to win some games, but I think they're the AFC East to me is a decidedly 2-team race.
Interesting. Isaac, what do you have? 20.
Well, this team was much higher than what you guys had them at. And their fourth string QB is Josh Rosen. The Cleveland Browns. That's all I have to say. Josh Rosen.
Hey, I think that's I think that's a fair ranking. Frankly, I still think the Browns have a lot of uncertainty.
Well, hey, look. I mean, their running back duo between Nick Chubb
Trio.
and I was gonna get to that. Thank you. Okay. Whatever. He stole my thunder. Yes, we are big fans here at FL Teams of Dearness Johnson from USF and obviously on the Cleveland Browns. We had him on for an interview. Definitely check that out on our YouTube channel. Dearness is amazing. We wish him luck this season. But sadly, he is in a tough running back room because of the depth. And Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are amazing. And I also want to show some love to someone I've met, Harrison Bryant, the tight end out of FAU, won the tight end of the year award in college football a few years ago. But yeah, I guess you could have the Browns really anywhere between 20 and 32. But I mean, we know Watson is not going to play the first game of the season, the first few games, obviously. It could even be the whole season, right? There's rumors about that. But as far as I could tell, when Watson doesn't play, the Browns are not winning a game. Because, I mean, yeah, you have options. You even have Joshua Dobbs. You have Joshua Dobbs and Josh Rosen. But yeah, look,
options.
Yeah, exactly.
Look,
but 21 is fair for the Browns. I mean, 29 is fair for the Browns. It's on, and I don't think I mean, Deshaun Watson, yes, it matters how many games he gets suspended. But I think what really matters is what happens to Brissett. The question is not how good Brissett is. How bad is he going to be? That's the question.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to face so many 10-man boxes. There'll be zero blitz. Brissett's in the game, and you're just going to have everybody within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. I mean, I don't care if you're Kareem Hunt or Nick Chubb. That's a tough sled to hoe.
Hey, but when Brissett won't be running goal line runs anymore because they have Nick Chubb. On the Dolphins, 4th and 1, they took 2 off the field, brought in Brissett. Gosh, that was bad. At least the Browns have 3 good running backs to do that instead of him.
I'm very happy that I have my number 20 team ranked the lowest of anyone here because I hate them. The Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to say the same.
The Dallas Cowboys, number 20. I think there's going to be some issues inside that building, frankly, with frankly, a lot of it's going to be because of Sean Payton.
Yeah.
And Mike McCarthy, and the way I still blame coaching for the way that the playoff game ended last year. I just don't. I don't like anyone in the NFC East. I think the winner of that division that gets to the playoffs is always going to be overrated because they get a lot of easy wins in their division. And I don't have the Cowboys winning the division. And I don't have the division winner much higher than the Cowboys, to be quite frank. So I'm glad that I have the Cowboys ranked the lowest because how about them Cowboys? Jeremiah, we are up to number 19.
19. Isaac stole the thunder earlier. San Francisco. I don't see it every year though. Every year I look at that team and I'm like, they're not good. And then they're in the Super Bowl. And then they're the NFC Championship. I don't get it. But I think if Debo really draws the line in the sand and doesn't want to be in the backfield the way that he was, he's not going to get used as well as he was. We know what Garoppolo is. If he even stays healthy. Trey Lance, I don't think is ready. I just, out of that division, I like them probably the least. I just don't like San Francisco, which again, they'll end up in the NFC Championship game. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. But to me, I'm always going to see them in that range.
Yep. Isaac?
I'm mentioning them for the first time. They obviously made it inside the top 20 here at 19, led by Derrick Henry and the one and only Dolphins legend, Ryan Tannehill. I'm going with the Titans. I think this could be a surprise here for you guys, but it's not going to cause a big reaction, as it's obviously not, because honestly, the Titans aren't the best team. Look, they're replacing A.J. Brown with 2 wide receivers, a veteran in Robert Woods and a rookie in Traylon Burks. You obviously have Derrick Henry still. And you know what? Their defense isn't that bad. I mean, you got Jeffrey Simmons. He isn't the worst. You know, Bud Dupree still hanging in there. Kevin Byard. I mean, he's good. But I don't see it. I mean, 19 is not a bad ranking. I mean, you want to be in the top 15, right? You want to be in the top half. Well, there's 32 teams. So you want to be top 16. You want to be in the top half of NFL teams. But I don't see them in the top half. Like, Titans here at 19, it's kind of disappointing because, you know, they made the playoffs in the last few years. And, you know, I guess my ranking is because A.J. Brown left. But I don't know. I just don't see it. Like, when you look at their roster, it's just, besides Derrick Henry, who is so talented, no one else is talented, right? Tannehill is not Garoppolo in terms of that bad, but he is definitely a game manager. He's a little better than a game manager, but not by that much. I mean, he's not anything.
I
better
take
than
Jared
that.
Goff over both of them.
But yeah, I mean, I don't want you guys to give away your rankings, but obviously you haven't said them yet. You think 19's respectable?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you, there's a bubble here I have between 19 and 13 to 15, and they're in that bubble. I'll tell you, they're not my 19 team. My 19 team, I'm the first one to bring up this team, the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay.
They finished very poorly. DeAndre Hopkins is suspended for 6 games. I know they got Hollywood Brown, but I don't think that's quite the same thing. I think they're going to have some internal strife, even though they gave Kyler the money. I mean, someone leaked the thing about him lying about watching game film, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Someone did.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a problem there. And again, they didn't end the season well at all. They kind of got exposed a little bit. I think Kyler Murray got exposed a little bit later in the season. I know he battled some injuries too, but they're a team that I would say, again, I said probably like 13, 14 to 19. I had those 7 teams, and I was just like, ooh, I could flip them any which way. And I just decided I'm putting the Cardinals on the bottom because that weird kind of stuff that's going on in that building.
Dude, we stay on the same page. 18, I got the Cardinals.
Oh, yeah.
We know how I feel about Kyler Murray. I just don't see progression at all. And then when that stuff leaks out about him, it says it. I mean, doesn't
Makes
seem
a lot
like
of
a guy
sense.
that's putting foot. He doesn't look like he's a guy that's putting football first. And DeAndre Hopkins being gone for Hollywood Brown. I'm sorry. They played in college together. Okay. Hollywood Brown didn't blow me away in Baltimore. And I think losing Chase Edmonds is a bigger hit than they're thinking about. I think that offense completely changes, and Arizona's just there. I think, they're not a good team. They're in that bubble. But, they're in I have that same little bubble. Tennessee's not far.
Mm-hmm. Isaac, what do you have at 18?
Jeremiah's going to like this, and I want to say this. You really find this team here. Patriots. Look, I kind of don't know what to say. Let's put it this way. Mac Jones is an interesting quarterback because he'll have some good games and he'll have some bad games. But this will make things clear. Damian Harris, not the best running back. Their wide receiver 1 is Devontae Parker, who me and Jeremiah know very well from the Dolphins. Kendrick Bourne is the wide receiver 2. Jacoby Myers is the wide receiver 3. Look, their tight end situation is pretty good. Hunter Henry and Johnny Smith. But let's talk about their defense. No J.C. Jackson, no Stephon Gilmore. You know what else? Hey, I mean, good for them. They got the one and only Matthew Judon, who was amazing last season. But, they have one of them, a Cody twin still. But that's about it. Nothing's really impressing me out there. I definitely see other people having the Patriots higher than 18, but I just don't know what to say. Like, you guys are probably wondering, like, Isaac, why are you so hesitant, right? You should have this planned out. You should know what you're saying. But Bill Belichick is what's in my head, right?
Mhm.
That's why I'm so hesitant, because the Patriots could be 10 on this list at the end of the season. And I don't want to say to myself, oh, Isaac, you were wrong about the Patriots. I don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen to them this season. If not Xavier Howard,
Mhm.
gosh. If Devontae Parker plays every game this season, I'm moving the Patriots up, because I know what Devontae Parker could do. Jeremiah, but we know what he could do when he gets injured. Nothing. So, yeah, give me the Patriots.
Yeah, and hey, I don't have the Patriots at 18, but I'll tell you they're also in that bubble. So, I'm also very proud to be the person who has this team ranked the lowest, because I hate the city, I hate the fan base. That may give some hints away. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. I do not like Jalen Hurts. The two best games in his career came against the New Orleans Saints, and that's not why I dislike him. It's that literally every other game I watch him, I'm like, where is the guy who played against the Saints? Where is he? This guy cannot hit consistent passes. I don't like what I see from him consistently as a football player. The playoff game against the Bucs, he was abysmal. And I can't give the Bucs defense a lot of credit for it. He was just missing guys. He was making bad decisions. I know he's young. He's got promise. They're in the worst division. I still have them the highest ranked team in the NFC East. So I still think they're going to be a playoff team. I just think as far as a serious contender, like, I'm not saying the top 14 teams on my rankings are playoff teams. No, my 18th team is, I think they're a playoff team. But I don't, if I compare them to every single team I have above them, I can't say that. I even originally had them lower, but I thought, no, they're, I think they'll win 9 to 11 games. I don't like the Eagles.
As
Steve,
much as
if I'm
you
wrong,
and I
you can call me out on it, man.
look, as much as you and I have been like step for step, you're going to find that's our biggest gap. That's our biggest gap. They weren't in my bubble. But if we're going to jump to 17, I'm probably going to throw one out that people aren't going to like on it. To me, it's Baltimore. I don't buy Baltimore. I don't buy Baltimore at all. Everybody says, oh, they were beat up, they were injured. Here's the thing, man. The Dolphins not only exposed what Lamar Jackson was, but you took away what his one weapon was. I mean, he's got Mark Andrews. Okay. Again, when your tight end is your top weapon, your offense is not. And J.K. Dobbins, I think maybe could have a great year, but who knows? I mean, we really don't know what he's going to. When a running back gets a knee injury, it's not.
Well, they got Mike Davis now from the Falcons.
Well, yeah, but when the Falcons let you walk for Cordell Patterson, I mean, last year the Ravens tried everything at running back. They did. They had Le'Veon Bell at some point. I think having a running back does open that offense up, but I just don't think Lamar Jackson is an NFL quarterback. I really don't. I don't see it at all. I think, he was fun to watch for a year, but he's figured out. He can't consistently make the throws that a quarterback needs to make to beat you. Their defense doesn't scare me. I think Baltimore is a bad team.
I will say, I don't know if I agree with you on Lamar Jackson, but the Dolphins exposed a big issue. Because
the NFL scheme, man. The NFL scheme, and they're not going to have an answer.
And I was at that game. Yay.
They ran the same defense every play, and an NFL quarterback should be able to compensate and beat that defense. He's got a talented tight end. He had Brown. It's not like you don't have some guys who can beat man coverage. He just couldn't deliver.
It felt like your worst nightmare on Madden when like a guy finds a defense that you just can't find an answer for, and you're like, I don't even want.
Which is usually the all-out blitz for me. So.
Right, exactly. So where you at on 17, Isaac?
Yeah, we're talking about this bubble. Give me the Arizona Cardinals. Look, Obviously Hopkins is so talented. Obviously he's going to be out for a few games because of a suspension. But James Conner scored a lot of touchdowns last year. You have Marquise Brown now. You have AJ Green for what that's worth, and you have Zach Ertz. You have weapons, but again, Kyler Murray does scare me because I was very high on him, and I'm not going to say I'm not high on him anymore, but I'm definitely not as high as him. If I'm rating like kind of like the Madden ratings, right? I would rate Kyler Murray a 91, and now he's like an 86 to me because that's just what's happening. The Cardinals, I think, have more weapons than they did in his rookie season because they had Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, how bad was that? But James Conner, Hopkins, Brown, Green, and Ertz, it's not that bad. And then on defense, J.J. Watt for what that's worth. But that's it. Oh, Butter Baker. Yeah, can't forget about him. But yeah, I mean, I know you guys already said this, but yeah, Kyler Murray scares me, man. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with the Cardinals this year. You know what? If Kyler Murray doesn't watch, film, and he shows out this year, then he shows out. I think that it's possible that the Cardinals could be a fringe playoff team. They have the weapons, and Kyler Murray could make plays happen. We know that. But what concerns me is the fact that Hopkins is going to be out the first few games. How important is that? And also, what concerns me is just the fact that Kyler Murray and the Cardinals are on a very, very tight line. And it's about to break. And if it breaks, I don't know what's going to happen. All right, a lot of teams have good backup QBs. They have Colt McCoy. You've got to be kidding me.
The best. Kidding. I want to say this before I say my 17 team. I have them actually ranked the highest of the three of us. But I do want to, because Steve's been so good in the comments here, I do want to tell him, I said the Eagles are going to win 9 to 11 games. I still have them 18. I will also say 11 of my top 16 teams are AFC teams. 11 of my top 16. So this team I'm about to name would still be the 7th seed in the NFC playoffs, and the Eagles would be the 4 seed. So just to be clear in my projections, I think there are 4 teams in the AFC that will miss the playoffs that are better than these 2 teams, and the 49ers are who I have at 17. I debated putting them higher so much. They're in that bubble too, where I almost had them at 13. Because as Jeremiah said, they always surprise. But at this point in the season, if you have 2 quarterbacks where at this point, I feel like you're dividing the locker room. You've got guys who are like, we've gone to a Super Bowl and an NFC championship game with this guy. Stick with him. We know he's not going to let us down. Trey Lance, he could, if he's better, you take an extra step. If he's got to mature, which I think he hasn't played much in the NFL. I mean, he has to get time, and there's an argument to be made. Let him get some game experience and just lose this season, and next year you'll be in great shape. So I think there's going to be some turmoil off and on in San Francisco. But again, to credit to Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, that organization has been winning consistently, and they've had some adversity, so I balanced it out, put them 17, just below the top half of the league. Now we're in the top half. Number 16, Jeremiah.
The Tennessee Titans. And that goes to a lot of what Isaac said. And look, anybody who knows me as a Dolphin fan will say I'm a Ryan Tannehill supporter for forever. Last year, he became what he really is. I mean, Tannehill had a chance last year. I thought he took a step in Tennessee, that he had grown. And when Derrick Henry went down, and now Tannehill just had to make a couple of plays, man, just a couple of throws. And Ryan Tannehill was Ryan Tannehill. And now you take away A.J. Brown. So, they didn't get better.
And by the way, notice how both of us, when we talked about the Titans, didn't talk about Malik Willis because it doesn't matter, right? He's not playing this year. It doesn't impact our ranking.
If he plays this year, he goes down. I mean, the team goes down.
Yeah,
I
not
mean, he'll
unless
be good,
Tannehill
but
gets hurt.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
well, that's because he's playing because either number one, Tannehill got injured or something else happened, and I don't know what that would be, but yeah.
But I think he's a guy that'll have a big learning curve too. You don't play at Liberty and then step into the NFL and just take over. You've got to. That takes a year or two.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with, and actually before I list the team name, I was wondering for a while where to put this team, simply because it's confusing. They're in a very confusing division. It's the Dallas Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb is a talented wide receiver. Ezekiel Elliott is a talented running back at times, right? We know that he has a lot of problems in terms of fumbling and staying healthy. Look, it's not the Zeke that eats yards like it was in the past, but his presence is still definitely going to be felt. And if Dak Prescott's healthy, and I guess I say that for every QB, if they're healthy, they're going to be good. Dak Prescott's talented, of course, but I mean, look, we're here sitting at 16. There's 32 NFL teams. They're exactly in the middle, and that's where they should be, because I've been figuring out where they should be, and they're not bad. They're not really good. So the middle makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Well, 16. We've talked about them. I agree with Jeremiah. I got the Titans there. I mean, that's enough said. And Steve may be winning me over a little bit, because my biggest argument was to why they're not a few spots higher as AJ Brown, and maybe I'd swap the Titans and Eagles. Again, they're all in that same bubble. It's just
So all of us had mentioned AJ Brown as the huge reason why the Titans.
He's a stud. I mean,
exactly. Top 10,
especially at the end of the season, he was taking over games sometimes for the Titans.
So look, this one at 15, I can't play the same joke that Isaac did, but I'm being legit. Jeff, you're not going to be shocked at me. I say New Orleans just because I don't trust Jameis Winston, period. There's nothing more for me to say. There's talent around him. There's everything there. I just remember Jameis throwing 40 picks in Tampa. And, I mean, 30, my bad. A couple of those games I was seeing double. I'm a Dolphins fan.
Too.
That happens. Right, yeah. But literally, yeah. I mean, there's all the talent in the world around New Orleans. I also wonder how the coaching changed, right? I mean, you're different. I mean, you stayed in-house, but it's still not Sean Payton leading the way, right? So I think that'll be interesting to see. But I could be way off on that. I mean, I put them in the middle of the league, and they could easily be in the top 10.
Yeah, I don't think that's unreasonable, by the
way. Isaac at 20 is 21. 15,
Isaac, what do you have?
15, I'm going with the Eagles. So I had them above the Cowboys. So if my rankings stay true, the Eagles would win the division. But it's only one spot over the Cowboys. Anyway, we were just talking about AJ Brown and his impact. So obviously that's going to be added to Philly. Jalen Hurts could do a lot with that dual threat quarterback. Miles Sanders still interests me because I don't know. Let's just say he gets booed by Eagle fans and then he gets loved by Eagle fans. I guess that's how Philly sports works. We know Philly sports.
The worst fan base in the world.
Yes. But hey,
the worst.
The
worst city on the planet. Well, in America. Yeah.
Dude, they're right next to New Jersey. They look good compared to Jersey. Okay.
Hey, I will take Jersey all day over Philly.
Yeah. Right. But hey, Devontae Smith as a wide receiver too. And again, he's not a rookie anymore. That's I mean, I don't want to call it impressive, but that's good. That's good. I know good's a basic word, but it's good. And in terms of the Eagles, I think that having them at 15, top half of the NFL, is reasonable. Like I said, they have the weapons. I wonder what's going to happen on the defensive end this season. I wonder if the Eagles will win the division. I really think it's just between them and the Cowboys. And again, I think that the Eagles need to stay on task. I want to say stay on task. You say, what does that mean? Like, you have coaching, they're going to make sure you're playing every week. Like, I feel like sometimes when the Eagles play, they just don't care. And it gets to me. I'm not an Eagles fan, but it gets to me because the Eagles have the talent, right? They won the Super Bowl a few years ago against the Patriots. I just feel like the fan base intrudes on the players. It's like, okay, they don't have Ertz anymore. They still have Dallas Goedert. He's a great tight end. If the Eagles don't make the playoffs, I'm not going to be surprised. They should. And I haven't said that. I think I don't think I've ever said in my life that the Eagles should make the playoffs. So, Philly, it's your year, man.
Said the Eagles should leave that horrible city that they play in, but not anything. Sorry, I have a grudge against Philadelphia. Other than Wawa and Rocky, I don't think anything good's come out of there.
Right. But I mean, those are pretty solid.
Yeah. Those are good. 15, I got the Patriots. I think I've got them the highest, but look, our bubbles, aside from Jeremiah with the Saints, are looking pretty similar. I mean, in that gap from like 19 to 13 right now. And we'll see how things play out with the Saints. Isaac, I very well could have them in that bubble too. I have the Patriots there, and they were a team that I had 2 spots higher, and I had them 3 spots lower. And Belichick just keeps coming into my head, and I think I don't know what they're doing with Mac Jones and surrounding him with such abysmal talent is borderline criminal. But you know, I just can't question him. Like, they made the playoffs last year. It's like, I don't know really how. So yeah, I have the Patriots the highest, but again, if you look at my AFC rankings, they'd still be outside of the playoffs looking in.
So now that we've all mentioned the Patriots, I have to say it. How much do you think Belichick really has left in him? Do you know what I mean? You've won a lot of Super Bowls. He's an older guy. You know, is Belichick truly Belichick in this thing anymore? Or is he just cashing a check? I don't know, dude.
I have the answer.
Yeah.
Until the Patriots are 32 on the power rankings.
Yeah. I don't know if he sticks around that long. Too much pride, dude. Too much pride. He ain't going to go down with the ship.
I think he's building up. I think this is a year he's just kind of playing back. And I think next year you're going to see him try to make one last run. And then maybe try to set up so his son can take over.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Jesus, I hope not. If the Jets get better and the Patriots get better, good Lord. Okay.
Well, the Dolphins are getting better, so.
All right.
Yeah. Number 14, what do you got, Jeremiah? These are technically playoff teams, but again, not the way I ranked them since I have.
Well, for me, this one's not. The Dallas Cowboys. I think Dak Prescott is another guy that I don't get. I mean, I feel like every year I'm told how good he is, but I don't see him make plays that matter. And Zeke is not Zeke anymore. You know, I mean, there were times last year that he wasn't the best running back on the roster. And there might be times this year he's not. You know, and you've right. And look, you've got other injuries, Michael Gallup and some of those guys. I think losing Cedric Wilson is going to be a big hit. Their defense is scary, right? Their defense is scary. Micah Part, he's an animal.
And Trevon Diggs.
Yeah, they're scary.
Trevon Diggs, most overrated player in the NFL.
He's still talented, so that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, but I think the Cowboys are outside the playoffs.
Trevon Diggs will give up 1,600 yards receiving and 30 touchdowns this year, but he'll pick off 8 passes. And people say, look how great he is.
Apple.
Hey,
I'd take Eli over. Well, no, I wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't.
Because Diggs is young.
He's definitely overrated, but I don't think that defines who he is. So he's fine. But yes, I mean
14. We're at the end of that bubble, Isaac. Where you at on 14?
Sorry, Jeff. Now I'm going to go with the Saints here. But hey, actually, I shouldn't say sorry because that is considered a playoff team, like you said. The Saints are one of my favorite NFC teams. I love what they do every year. Between Taysom Hill and the actual team, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I like the fact that Michael Thomas is back this year. And as a Dolphin fan, Jarvis Landry. And you know what else? Chris Olave. I think he's going to be a great wide receiver. Now, this is what interests me. Marcus Callaway and Trayvon Smith are not going to get a lot of playing time, and they were the Saints wide receiver 1 and 2 last year. So that shows you that the Saints got better. What it also shows you is that Jameis Winston has more weight to carry on his back. Not necessarily, but yes, like he definitely has way more pressure this year, but then he has better weapons. So I don't know, it kind of evens out. But I have to say one thing, and I know I said this earlier when I jokingly said the Saints at 21. Jameis Winston, I like what he does, but nothing's telling me that he's going to carry the Saints past the first round in the playoffs because he had Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, right? It's not like, oh, this year they have Jarvis Landry and Michael. Jameis Winston has had weapons in the past. Now he led the NFL in passing yards, and I love that, right? Like I say, I'm fine with
though.
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, again, I don't know the Saints coaching situation though. I don't know if it's good. We can't just flat out come out and say they're going to be good though. Right?
I'll talk about the Saints when we get to
I don't know.
I think your homerism is showing because my number 14 team, I thought I rated them too high. It's the Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
I'll be honest, ranking the Saints below the Dolphins to me is hilarious. That just team to team comparison, I think that's hilarious. You cannot tell me the Dolphins have a better defense with a straight face.
Yeah, no, I can. There's game footage. Like,
who has a better? Wait, time out.
The one that we played against. The one that we played against New Orleans.
Against a bunch of guys we picked up off the street and said, "You want to play?"
We'll get to the Dolphin thing on it. Look, the Saints defense is great, no doubt.
Yeah. But, look. Let's say this: Cameron Jordan, Tyrann Mathieu, I completely forgot about. Gosh, and Marcus May. That's good, but I don't see how it's much better than the Dolphins, if any better. Marshawn Lattimore too.
Marshawn Lattimore. Paulson Adebo is extremely unheralded. Had a great rookie seasons. Looked great in camp.
We'll save the Dolphins talk for later.
Good defense.
Yeah. Hey, Dolphins number 14, and
that's fair. It's fair in that bubble. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now again, they're in that bubble, and I'd argue I kind of have a little mini bubble from like 11 to 14, 15 also. So, I mean, they're on that cusp of being a
Jeff,
playoff
can you
team
just admit that there's bubbles everywhere at this point?
I just see bubbles everywhere.
And Jeff, just go ahead and say it, man. It's Tua. It's okay. It's Tua.
Oh, that's a huge part of it. Yeah.
Right. I get it.
Yeah. I'll take Jameis over Tua 7 times out of 7, man.
Okay.
One's got arm talent, one doesn't.
Wait, Jameis over Tua? That's not even a conversation, of course.
It's
Isaac agrees with me, of course.
No, it's a big conversation for later. Yeah.
But I think Tua's a bad quarterback. I think he's got great weapons around him. I mean,
look, Jameis Winston can throw it 65 yards to the other team. I'll take Tua throwing it 15 yards in stride to a wide receiver.
He can throw it 15 yards. I haven't seen it.
It's about 65, 67% accuracy, somewhere in there.
I mean, his thing he can do this year is bubble screens to Waddle and Tyreek Hill, which will give him some nice numbers that don't indicate he's anything special.
Right. It takes away that hope of the ball floating in the air until the other team catches it and goes that way.
We'll see. This is
going to be fun year.
We'll roundhouse this one at the end of the season.
Yes, we'll push that one back. All right, where are we at? Sorry.
13.
13. This is probably lower than anybody else has them. I just can't. I get it. Best player in the game, maybe Green Bay. It's Green Bay. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is great, but you can't tell me that. I mean, you got, again, how did you get better? I mean, A.J. Dillon's going to help you run the ball. I think he needs to get more carries this year and free up Aaron Jones some. But outside of that, you lose your best and really only wide receiver and replace him with Sammy Watkins.
Yep.
Like when will people stop paying Sammy Watkins to pretend to be a wide receiver? And 2 rookies. Can't their defense is good. That's fine. They're in a horrible division, which is going to help them. But yeah, Green Bay.
Isaac.
Yeah. So here at 13, I'll be the first to mention them. Talented quarterback, talented wide receiver, Obviously, you're at 13. That is making a playoff spot, so nothing bad here. This is good numbers. The Raiders. I like Derek Carr. Devontae Adams, I mean, I didn't watch him that much in Green Bay. I'm an AFC guy, but yeah, we know he's talented. Top 5 wide receiver easily, maybe even number 1. I know some people have that. Hunter Renfrow at number 2, Waller at tight end. That's good. Good.
I think Waller might be the best tight end in the league, honestly. If you can stay healthy.
Chandler Jones now on the defensive end. But that's about it. Like,
yeah, it's a good team. You said you've got him ranked the lowest at 13, so we'll touch on him more. But
yeah, again, 13 is making the playoffs, so I'm kind of like, I don't know, I'm not really giving them a lot of credit in this like explanation, but 13 is making the playoffs, so I guess that's good. I mean, Raider fans, I don't know what you want, but making the playoffs is definitely step 1 of reaching your goal, which I would assume is winning the Super Bowl. By the way, shout out to Josh Jacobs. I met him. Nice guy. Wishing him luck this season because he's going to have, well, Kenyon Drake, Dolphins legend, behind him. So don't mess up because Kenyon Drake will take your spot.
I'm shocked. My number 13, I am shocked I'm the first person to mention them. I thought I would have them higher potentially than everyone else.
Can I guess? Is this the Colts?
No. The Vikings. I'm kind of stunned that I have them ranked lower than both of you guys. I thought this was going to be like I had 2 or 3 teams. I'm like, I'm going to be way too high on these teams. And I thought the Vikings might be one of them. In fairness, they were in that 13 to 19 bubble I mentioned quite a bit, but they kind of stayed at 13 the whole time on my list. I think they're the most talented. They've got the most weapons offensively. We'll talk about them more, obviously, since I'm the first one to bring them up. But I'm actually, that might be the biggest surprise I've had so far is that I have the Vikings ranked the lowest of the 3 of us. Now you're both going to probably have number 12. So,
well, one of us does. Well, look, here's my only reason I put them above is because look, the previous coaching staff hated Kirk Cousins. They hated him. They really did. They didn't let Minnesota throw the ball. With guys that you have, with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen and that kind of talent, like to see the average attempts per game, they didn't let Kirk Cousins throw the ball. Kirk Cousins can throw the ball. I think they're going to be more wide open on offense this year, which I think is only going to be good for Cook, right? I mean, so everything's going to open up. I think I think their offense is going to be good, and their defense is sneaky consistent every year. And plus, I don't really like the Packers, and the rest of that division is awful. So, like, yep.
That makes sense. Isaac?
Here at number 12, Colt fans should be happy. The Colts. Matt Ryan here, bound to make the playoffs. Or I guess Nick Foles bound to make the playoffs. Take it all you want. Both. Jonathan Taylor solidified himself as one of the NFL's best running backs last year. Michael Pittman is improving each and every year. And look, the defense is pretty darn good. DeForest Buckner, Yannick Ngakoue, Shaquille Leonard, and of course, Stephon Gilmore. The Colts are bound to make the playoffs. I don't know how far they'll go. I guess Jonathan Taylor could carry the Colts, but at some point, you'd have to assume that Matt Ryan is going to have to do something. And you really just have Michael Pittman. Like Keenan Cole is not Keenan Cole. Keenan Cole. I don't know why I say Keenan Cole. Keenan Cole's on the Raiders, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why I say Keenan Cole. But Paris Campbell is their wide receiver too. Like besides Michael Pittman, the wide receiver room scares me. But at some point, you'd have to assume that Matt Ryan's going to have to elevate his game. And I don't think he has the ability. So the Colts here at 12. I could have easily had the Raiders at 12 and the Colts at 13. But I don't know. I just think that the Colts are an improved team this year. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to carry most of the load. But again, Matt Ryan, I mean, whether it's the 2-minute warning or something, Matt Ryan's going to have to really step up to the plate. And I guess really everyone on the Colts is going to have to because Michael Pittman can't carry the air attack.
I have the Ravens at 12. They're hard to place. Lamar Jackson, when running quarterbacks start having injuries that keep them out long stretches, you start worrying about it being a recurring thing. It tends to be the case. I mean, it just historically is. Again, that Dolphins game, that Thursday night game, I can't get that out of my head. And he didn't play much. I think only a few games after that is when he went down with injury. Didn't come back. He hasn't had a lot of playoff success. Running quarterbacks seem to be, again, you can't always beat them, but they seem to be easier to scheme against if they can't hit the passes. And sometimes he's shown great ability, frankly, to make the throws. And sometimes he doesn't look like the same guy. So the Ravens, I don't really know. They're kind of a team that I would say was not in a bubble. They were like, they're better than these teams. They're worse than these teams. I don't think, if they miss the playoffs, if they win the Super Bowl, I wouldn't be shocked with either outcome, frankly. So I have them there at 12. We're getting close to the top 10, Jeremiah. Who do you have at 11?
Just outside of that, I put the Miami Dolphins. And this goes down to my belief in Tua. Because as much as I said the previous regime hated Kirk Cousins, come to find out, Brian Flores hated Tua. And look, here's the thing. There's a lot of things that he doesn't do well, but they've built an offense for the things that he does. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle can run after the catch. He's an accurate guy. If he's hitting people in stride 15 yards down the field, they can do the rest. You've still got Gesicki, who they brought back. The offense got way better. I mean, Myles Gaskin, who went into last year as our RB1, may not even be in the room. I mean, you're going back. You've got Chase Edmonds. You've got Sony Michel. You've got Raheem Mostert. And then you start getting into the Myles Gaskins, right? I mean, I think this is Mike McDaniel is a guy that likes to run the ball. He does it with different quarterback or different running backs. I think the offense got improved. And my biggest thing is the defense didn't get worse. The defense got better. The defense is all together again. And now you got Javon Holland with another year, Jalen Phillips with another year. And in the second half of the season, this defense was, I would argue, not top 10. In the second half of the season, the Dolphins defense was top 5. They went on a tear with no offense, winning games. And this defense got better. So are they ready to take on the Bills? No. But I think they're an absolute playoff team this year. I don't think it's close between them and the other teams of the AFC East outside of the Bills.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say, whoa, hold on there, Cowboy.
right.
You're forgetting.
So that's my 11. just outside of the top 10.
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair rating. I didn't have them far off. What do you have, Isaac?
Yeah, I'm really confident with who I put at number 11. I'm going with the Vikings. I think that with the help of Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, Kirk Cousins is going to have his same old year. All right, Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, and Justin Jefferson. But again, look, here at 11, just outside of the top 10, the Vikings should, and according to these rankings, will make the playoffs. But it comes down to this, of course, and this is with every team, staying healthy. But what could Justin Jefferson do? It seems like he was an elite wide receiver last year. Could he do better than what he did last year? It seems hard to beat, but it's definitely possible. The Vikings defense is questionable. I'd like to see more from the defensive front, but hey, in terms of the Vikings as a whole, they're going to make the playoffs. Here at 11, I'm really confident. I had no questions about putting the Vikings down right here at spot 11.
And we're all pretty close on them, 11, 12, and 13. So I think we're all pretty similar on that. I'm surprised I'm the first for number 11, kind of, sort of. I got the Broncos at 11. They got Russell Wilson, and that's why they're not way lower, because the main thing is this division is a buzzsaw. This is the first AFC West team I've named. I don't think Jeremiah's named the one yet. I mean, that tells you all you need to know. And Isaac named the Raiders at 13 as his lowest AFC. This division is unbelievably good. And frankly, you talk about the playoff teams. Yeah, the Broncos are probably, if things go out the way my rankings are, they probably won't be a playoff team. Teams like the Ravens, Dolphins behind them will be, just because the division they play in. And again, I'm putting this as if I line two teams up on a field and say who's going to win the majority if they play each other 10 times, I put the Broncos 11. Again, that's the same reason I have the Eagles winning the division and they might win 10, 11 games and have them 18. That's just how I'm looking at these from top to bottom. I have the Broncos there. I think they're a greatly improved team. Just, they're in a buzzsaw division, and, they don't have continuity at quarterback that the other three teams have. And I do think there's something to be said about a new quarterback coach situation opposed to, kind of the same guys coming back. So no slight to the Broncos, but that's where I have them. Top 10, guys.
Look, I hope. I told you we were going to have a huge gap on this, and Steve's been loyal and hanging out. I hope he's hanging around. Here's the deal. Literally, and it's not giving anything away, the AFC is going to be top heavy on this, right? Literally, my third best team in the NFC is at number 10, and it's the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are – A.J. Brown puts it over the top. Last year, Jalen Hurts, did he look bad? Yeah, their offensive line was pretty banged up. They've gotten back healthy. Miles Sanders was hurt a little bit. But look, we also forget Kenneth Gainwell's back there, and Kenneth Gainwell's a heck of a changeup back. People forget what he did in college. I mean, coming out of Memphis, he was a heck of a running back. He's going to get some play this year. He's going to be in that Darren Sproles-esque sort of way. And then Devontae Smith was all he had, man. I mean, it was Devontae Smith and a bunch of guys who probably aren't even on the Eagles practice squad that were running routes. I mean, you add A.J. Brown to that, and this defense is tough. And then put on top of it, they're going to run roughshod through their division. I mean, they're easily going to be – I don't think they sneak into the playoffs. I think they end up being a pretty decent seed in the NFC. And, I think this team's going to do some – they're going to come together. I like the Philadelphia Eagles a lot this year.
I think we got.
Well, I'm happy because I beat Jeremiah on this one. Give me the Dolphins at 10. I got them inside the top 10. Jeremiah didn't. I'm kind of disappointed, man. You're a Dolphin fan. Anyway, look, I mean, Jeremiah hit it spot on. Obviously, he knows the Dolphins, so he said everything correctly. I do want to add a few things, though. Obviously, the Dolphins at 10, I think, depends on Tua. You know what? I think they're the one team that they can go from number 1 on this list to number 32. Seriously. No, they won't be 32. You get what I'm saying.
I don't think there'll be one either, but I like where you're headed.
No, I think that everything, and obviously the QB is the most important position, but like we said about Garoppolo, the 49ers made the Super Bowl with Garoppolo. Depending how bad Tua is or how good he is, the Dolphins can make damage. Now, my hope is even if Tua's bad, the Dolphins could make the playoffs. And that's because they have an amazing running back duo of Raheem Mostert and Chase Edmonds. They have a great fullback, which adds just another piece that I don't necessarily need to talk about. But Alec Ingold, the defense, Emmanuel Ogbah, Christian Wilkins, Xavier Howard, Byron Jones, Noah Igbenogany, and also someone who's been pretty good in training camp, Javon Holland. I'm excited about this Dolphins team, and putting them at 10, I think, is perfect. Look, I don't like Tua. So, and I'm sorry that I'm taking a little bit more time than I should, but obviously on NFL teams, you need to talk about the Dolphins. So, the question you guys should be asking, Isaac, you have the Dolphins at 10. Why is that, and what does that mean about Tua, right? Like, what type of season is he going to have? And I don't think I've really talked about this yet, so this is kind of big. I think that Tua is going to be an average QB. He's going to be better than last year, but he's going to look like an above-average QB. He's going to be an average QB, but he's going to look good. I say the same reference, but I'm going to say it again. Sorry, guys. 5-yard pass. Tyreek Hill is going to run it 80 yards, 85-yard touchdown. That's fine. My only concern about that is that the Dolphins could do better than that, right? Justin Herbert can throw the 5-yard pass. Tyreek Hill can still run it 80 yards. but Justin Herbert can also throw it 60 yards deep, and Tyreek will catch it. Look,
90's 90 though, ain't it? I mean, how it gets there don't really matter.
But
Not
again,
the way you defend it.
yeah. Hey, but my concern is that the Dolphins could do better than Tua. But you know what? For now, I'm gonna give Tua some slack because this is the year. A lot of people are giving Daniel Jones more and more years. But the thing about Daniel Jones and the Giants, no good offensive line and no good weapons. Tua is not going to be given any extra, especially because people hate him. Like, he's not getting any leeway. Tua, this is your year. You have Tyreek Hill. You have Jalen Waddle. You have Mike Gesicki. You have Teron Armstead at the offensive line position.
He'll play like 7 to 10 games.
Hey, I know I talked about Alec Ingold.
Look, no, that'll be 7 to 10 games better than anybody we've had at tackle
that
since
is very
Jake
true.
Long.
Very true.
Sure, yeah.
I know, like saying this is stupid because fullbacks mean nothing, but that's another piece of security. Look, Tua has the weapons. What has happened the past 2 seasons? The first season, the Dolphins beat the Rams. The Dolphins beat the Cardinals. The Dolphins defense carried the team to victory. Tua did his job in those wins, but the defense was the main key. The defense is not just better than that rookie season for Tua, but the offense is better. So, to wrap this up, Dolphins inside the top 10. I really could see them being like at 5 if Tua really shows out. But I just don't see how Tua could show out. Like, let's be honest. How could Tua be better than like the top 10 QBs in the NFL? How could Tua be better than Dak Prescott? How could Tua be better than Justin Herbert? Better than Joe Burrow? Even better than Ryan Tannehill? Like, I just don't see it. Like, seriously.
See, look, 2 things I'll address because we're done with the Dolphins after this. One, Steve stayed loyal the whole way. The culture's not damaged in Miami. It's better.
Yeah.
We didn't know how damaged it was with Flores until he left. I didn't.
Well,
but when the stories came out, it was dysfunctional.
McDaniel
to a different place.
I think you're wrong, Jeremiah.
You think?
I think you got a quarterback and a coach whose owner was clearly trying to get other people in the building instead of.
Yeah.
I think there's a problem there.
Right.
I think there's a problem there.
Neither one of those guys is normal. Mike McDaniel is like, this doesn't faze him. Do you think Mike McDaniel could care less? He's on a sideline coaching an NFL team. You tried to get Sean. Okay. Didn't come. Tua's been hearing people knock on his door since he was drafted, and he's handled it. I think this team is better in the culture and the way that it is. And here's the thing, Isaac, I'm a little disappointed, man. When you look at these things with Tua and we make statements, look, go blind, man. Just look at the numbers and the stats. Tua's win-loss record compared to some of these quarterbacks that you're saying are better than him in his first 2 years.
That's the Dolphins defense.
You can say that about every team. His completion percentage, right? His QB rating, all of these things. And you want to make an excuse to tell us why he's bad when sometimes maybe we just refuse to see that the kid's okay. He played at Alabama. He won a national championship. We'll see.
But
we'll move on. We'll keep the whole thing with this.
It's going to be the regular season before we get to number 1 on our list.
My point. Jeremiah, I have a question for you. Was Tua good at Alabama?
Yeah.
Did Alabama have weapons?
Sure.
Do the Dolphins have weapons now?
They do.
Okay. You see where I'm going here?
I know, but that's the thing. Every quarterback needs weapons. I mean, at some point.
So now you agree that this is Tua's year. Like if we're not giving him one more.
It's a make or break year. There's no doubt.
Him and Jalen Hurts.
The problem is, if it's a break year, I'm nervous about like the Dolphins making the playoffs and Tua being average, but it's kind of like a Garoppolo situation. Like I want the Dolphins to do better. You want the team, I guess, making the playoffs.
Winning a playoff game would be the first time in like 20 years.
I don't see how we can win a playoff game though with Tua. But if it
makes you feel better, I don't have the Dolphins making the playoffs.
Jeff, we're going to argue this all night long. I swear to God. Okay, what's your number 10?
Let's go to my number 10.
I love it, Isaac.
I think a very reasonable place for the New Orleans Saints.
Okay.
Not that far off from where you guys had them. I will say By the way, we're talking about defenses, and you want to talk about statistics. The Saints had like more 3-and-outs last year than any team in the NFL. Their defense got worn down. Saints defense 7th in yards allowed. Dolphins 15th. Saints 4th. Dolphins 16th. I'd hold off on the argument the Dolphins had a better defense than the Saints. Also, 0 points for Tom Brady in a primetime game. They hold them to 0. The Saints were 9-3 last year when Jameis or Taysom Hill started at quarterback. They were 0-5 when Trevor Siemian or Ian Book. The Saints being done facade was because the Saints started more players than any team in NFL history because they were ravaged by injuries. And then also COVID really is what cost them the playoffs. The 49ers went to the NFC Championship game. The Saints would have wiped the floor with the Dolphins had they had half of those guys with COVID on the field. As long as Ian Book was not starting at quarterback.
The Saints also got to play the Falcons twice and the Panthers twice while we
lost to the Panthers. We lost to the Panthers in week 2 because we were missing 11 players in week 2 because of COVID also, and coaches. We had no offensive coaching staff.
If you guys would stay off, look, if you stay away from Mardi Gras, okay, and wash your hands.
My point is this: the Saints got better on both sides of the ball. They were, if healthy last year, a clear-cut playoff team. There is no doubt if they were moderately healthy at a couple positions, they were a clear-cut playoff team. There's no doubt. They got better on defense. They got Marcus May and Tyrann Mathieu to replace Marcus Williams, who always – I liked him as a player, but he always made some buffoony, stupid plays. Frankly, cost the Saints a Super Bowl in 2017, in my humble opinion, his play against the Vikings. And Malcolm Jenkins, who played well, but he was getting long in the tooth. Their defensive line is healthy. They've been dominant at times. Their third cornerback, Bradley Roby, is going to have a hard time seeing the field. He'd be a starter on almost any other team in the NFL. He's a very good player. And the Saints receiving core, they're 1, 2, 3 last year. They're 4, 5, 6 this year.
This is not a Saints talk show, man.
All right, yeah. The Saints, number 10 is low for the Saints, but because we need to see Jameis play a whole year. That's where I have the Saints 10th.
Look, I have them 15th because I'm planning on Jameis playing an entire year.
Hey, and I have 15th, 14th, and 10th. It's not like we're across the globe from each other. But I needed to address the Dolphins defense being better than the Saints because that's a comical take.
But I am happy that both of our I had the Dolphins at 10 and you had the Saints at 10. It's good.
Yes, and the Dolphins 10, 11, 14. We also had them very close, within 5 of each other at all spots. Yeah. That means we all think similar bubbles, as one might say.
I think that might make this top 10 move quick, right? So what are we at? 9.
9.
Let's get going. Here we go.
The Las Vegas Raiders. They were a good team, made the playoffs last year. I like Derek Carr more than maybe other people do. And you added Devontae Adams. Not only that is he a great receiver, but there is that connection between him and Carr in college, which I know I kind of threw away a little bit with Kyler Murray and Hollywood Brown, but that was kind of talent-wise, right?
I think they live next door to each other too, though, don't they?
Yeah,
they're really best tight. Friends. Yeah.
And so you put those together, and I think Josh Jacobs is a great back. I think Kenyon Drake has found his niche now, which is that change of pace guy to be there. Darren Waller probably is the best tight end in the game. So I think the Raiders are easily at 9.
Yep.
That's my first AFC West team, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isaac, what do you got at 9?
At 9, I got Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know where I was going to put them. I just landed here at 9. I feel like they're on a weak division, so they could definitely win a division. And obviously, being at 9, you're making the playoffs. But the question is, how far can Green Bay go this year? Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon will only take you so far. And you're relying on Allen Lazard and Sammy Watkins. Now, Rodgers, we know, is so talented, especially with that deep ball. But what concerns me is the fact that Green Bay never makes it to the Super Bowl. And this year, out of all of the years that I actually thought they might go to the Super Bowl, they're not. Definitely not. And that's because of the loss of Devontae Adams. Look, the Packers always make it close to the Super Bowl. And with the way this team's looking now, and what I've said in the past about the Packers making the Super Bowl, they're definitely not making it. But 9, I feel like, is an accurate ranking. The Packers literally made it to the later stages of the playoffs, and I think every single year in the past at least 3 years. Yeah.
Well, they get to the second round because they have a bye week.
Yeah.
But did they get better?
No,
definitely
they
not.
clearly got worse.
Exactly. So, but that's why, like, they got worse without a doubt, which tells me that 9 is actually generous, I think. But 9 is fine.
Yeah, I have them higher, which I realize probably is a mistake. I have the Colts at 9. I think they're a legitimate Super Bowl contender. I like what they have on defense. I like what I like Matt Ryan as a quarterback when he's not on the Falcons. So for the first time in my life, I like Matt Ryan as an NFL quarterback. I Jonathan Taylor, so talented. I think Matt Ryan can make do with lesser receivers and make them better, like he did with Roddy White. Roddy White was a horrible, garbage person. No, I'm just kidding. I was just trying to insult Roddy White. Don't like him very much.
He's not getting a bust in Canton.
No, he's not. Okay, top 8. Here's our top quartile of the NFL. Jeremiah.
The Denver Broncos.
Okay.
I think Russ is going to bring something to the table. You've got some talented wide receiver. I think the loss of Tim Patrick's bigger than maybe we know. Tim Patrick, that was a fantasy guy that last year was just consistently good for me, man. Tim Patrick was that underneath consistent guy. I got him ranked at 8 though, because I really, 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 really like Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams to me can take the same leap that Jonathan Taylor took. 100%. That guy's an animal. When we got snaked out of him in the draft, I was so angry. He was looking at us in the second round. And yeah, but no, so Denver, I think, Russell Wilson's going to bring new life. They'll be good on offense. But 8, are there going to get 3 teams in the playoffs out of the AFC West? Maybe. Or they might be on the outside looking in. Who knows? But, Denver, I think, is going to be
4 technically, but that's a hard.
Yeah.
With 7 teams now, but that's
true.
That's a hard press. Isaac, who you have at 8?
I'm going with the Ravens here. This is highest on the list. Obviously, you guys had the Ravens here lower. Yeah, I completely agree with what you both said about the Ravens just being so questionable in terms of where to rank them. Like, we know they're good, but they got exposed last year against our Dolphins. And I think it's as simple as this. Lamar needs to return to his MVP self. And if he doesn't, it's going to cause problems, because let's look at it this way. They lost Marquise Brown, which really, tested my brain. Like, I thought to myself, why did they do this, right? Obviously, they got Rashad Bateman. But, again, for such a young guy, you can only go so far in your first year. And for the 2022 to 2023 NFL season, the Ravens are not going to do as much as they should. And something? It's really that defense that keeps the Ravens. Patrick Queen, Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Williams, Kyle Fuller, Calais Campbell. That is what keeps, and of course, Justin Tucker. For special teams mention of the show here. But
it does matter.
Yeah. Like, I understand that the Ravens being at 8 is kind of high, but if Lamar returns to his MVP self, 8 would make sense. Like, the weapons are not there, and that's kind of a problem because Lamar isn't the best passer. But to say the least, like Rashad Bateman's not going to be bad. He could definitely be at the level as Marquise Brown was in the past 2 seasons. You know what? Look, saying this out loud, I don't think the Ravens should be at 8, but it's not that much of a reach because Lamar is a talented QB. And talented can't even define him. Like, he's a different type of QB that we don't get often, right? And the numbers show that. I just think that Lamar getting exposed against the Dolphins last year really just gave the Ravens a lower ranking this year. But even though I'm a Dolphin fan and I was at the game, I didn't let it faze me. And that's why I kept with the ranking at 8.
Isaac, I'll say this, and Jeff and I get in the older age. We saw Lamar Jackson before when he was Randall Cunningham, when he was Michael Vick, and none of them got better over time, right? There was a very quick and then a steady down. And I don't know. Lamar Jackson to me, I don't.
Once you
like,
start getting injuries, and Cunningham did to his credit, he had that 1 year with the Vikings where he was a passing quarterback.
Yeah,
late, well after his prime. But that's what worries me with Jackson.
No,
I'm the first one to mention at number 8. I got the Kansas City Chiefs here. I think they got way worse. I mean, they lost Tyreek Hill. Hardman just got carted out off practice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's lost some weapons here.
And they lost Tyrann Mathieu to your Saints.
They lost Tyrann Mathieu. They also have a quarterback who I've read statistics who has said he is statistically the luckiest quarterback in NFL history because he has had more dropped interceptions over the past 2 years than anyone else. I need to go back. I should have had that ready. But I was just reading an article that he literally throws the ball to the other team, and they just can't catch it.
Well,
no other quarterback has a drop percentage like that.
Guess what? That's a skill then for Mahomes that no one can.
We'll see, or it's one of those things that statistically is going to turn around in an absurd way, and he'll throw 30 picks in a season. I don't think. I think he's probably still, if you redrafted all the teams, the guy I'd pick number 1. So I'm not saying this to slight him. I just think the team around him and the division around him are just shifting so much that Now I will say I would definitely put the team I have above them below the last 2 teams I said. Thinking about it a little further, but let's hop to number 7, Jeremiah.
I'm right there at Kansas City. I think this to me is going to be another telling year of there's so many great quarterback stories, but I think Mahomes is a good story because we're going to see. I mean, can he take Juju Smith-Schuster and Valdez-Scantling and run this offense the way that it was? And right, and Ed, I think we can all kind of agree that like Clyde Edwards-Helaire didn't turn out to be the back like we thought he was going to be 6 games into his season. I'm like 6 games into his career, we're like, wow, they hit gold. And now you're like,
Coming out of LSU, we really thought like, I remember when he got drafted by the Chiefs, we were like, wow, like Mahomes could pass and then they're going to have a good running game. Didn't end that way.
No,
his first few NFL games too were,
you were like, oh, Jesus, this team just got scary. And then he just kind of faded out. So we'll see.
Became a guy.
He became a guy, right? He's now a platoon dude. So I don't think their offense got better. So we'll see. And we'll see. It's interesting to see what Mahomes becomes.
I'm the first person to mention this team. Give me the Los Angeles Chargers. Here at 7. Justin Herbert, sadly, is very good. Sorry, Dolphin fans. But yeah, Justin Herbert's very good. That's just the truth. Austin Eckler, very good running back. Keenan Allen, amazing wide receiver. I like Mike Williams at that second wide receiver spot. And then the biggest addition for the Chargers is obviously Khalil Mack and Derwin James Jr. still on the team. Then they added J.C. Jackson from the Patriots. The Chargers are definitely Super Bowl contenders here at 7. They could do a lot. And it just as a Dolphins fan, I don't want them to do a lot because it just pains me to see what like the Dolphins could have been with Herbert. But hey, it is what it is. Again, it is what it is. You have to move on. The Chargers are a fun team to watch. Passing, running, everything. And now I think like the fact that they got Khalil Mack and JC Jackson, like the Chargers were so good last year. Now they're even better. Like JC Jackson just brings a completely different element to it. And Khalil Mack, I mean, he's been on the Bears his whole career. That's new in itself. So yeah, the Chargers are going to be an exciting Super Bowl contender this year. We'll see how far they can make it.
Yep. I got the Packers ranked at 7, the highest of us three. I think I'd probably put them lower even after this week. They were practicing with the Saints. Rodgers couldn't even hit 50% of his passes either day, which I know, again, I know the Saints. I think they're the best defense in the league, but that 50% is, oof. I mean, for Rodgers especially, I think he's going to have a tough time with that stripped down receiving core. I think though, I still think because Rodgers, I think is the best quarterback in the NFL, maybe the single best player in the NFL still. So they'll win 10, 11 games easily, and maybe more. But yeah, I kind of feel bad for Aaron Rodgers because I feel like he's almost like I said with Mac Jones. It's like, oof, come on, give the guy some talent. The Packers defense should be a top 10 defense, top 5 maybe defense. So there's that too. I think we overlook defense sometimes, but yeah, I got the Packers at 7, and I probably would flip-flop them with the Colts, honestly, looking at it now. Put them at 9 and the Colts at 7, but it is what it is. Jeremiah, number 6. These are the real contenders.
Indianapolis Colts, flat out. The defense is underrated. I don't think their division is going to be that tough. Okay. I mean, they should be able to kind of cakewalk. I don't think Tennessee's good. Okay. And then Matt Ryan's made a lot worse receiving cores look good. And I think you're also going to see, I mean, I make this mistake. I look at Matt Ryan and I feel like he's been in the NFL for forever. But then you look and he's really not that old. I mean, he's not young, but Matt Ryan's not an old dude. Like there's juice. There's something left in that tank. And I think he's surrounded by the best team, and he knows the same way that Matt Stafford knew last year. There ain't many times left, right, that you're going to have a legitimate shot. And I remember, talking to my buddies and doing playoff pools like 2 weeks before the season ended last year. And everybody was all about Indianapolis. Everybody thought Indianapolis was going to be the team that was going to run through the playoffs. They were going to get in late, but then, Jonathan Taylor was going to take. And then all of a sudden they can't beat Jacksonville and they don't even make the playoffs. But the Colts are a team that when it gets around playoff time, last year with Carson Wentz, you didn't want to see them. This year with Matt Ryan, you really don't want to see them. And, you forget guys like Kiki Kute or whatever his name was. It was in Houston for forever. Mo Alley Cox is a good tight end. The defense is solid, and you're going to be able to run the ball. And then, not just Taylor, but you run out like Nehemiah Haim and those guys. Like, I feel like he goes off once or twice a year, right? The little third down back, Hines or whatever that comes out.
Hines, yeah.
There's talent. So I think you took a really talented team and you traded Carson Wentz for Matt Ryan. That to me is a contender.
Yeah. Isaac, what do you got?
Yeah, so Jeff, you said we're getting into the real contenders here. I didn't mention them yet. I have them making the Super Bowl. However, I have to put them at 6 because making the Super Bowl doesn't mean you're like the first or second best team.
Sure.
You could be lucky. Like the Saints obviously should have made the Super Bowl, but the refs were on the Rams side, right? So that could happen. But hey, you get what I'm saying. Like sometimes a team's better than you, but you just win games. Like you're just, I guess, better teamwork. You're just better mentality. It doesn't mean you're better. Give me the Broncos at 6. I love this Broncos team. Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, great running back duo. Russell Wilson is not on the Seahawks for the first time in his career. He is going to bring a lot of energy to this Broncos team. Yes, the Broncos don't just have Jerry Jeudy, but they have Cortland Sutton. And we really haven't seen their full potential because they've been injured so much. And I don't want to stop there because the Broncos have an interesting situation because they have I'll call it an interesting defense, right? They have Pat Surtain, Bradley Chubb, very decent, but Ronald Darby could do a lot. And I think that this is going to be one of those Super Bowl contenders that is overpowered by the offense, right? The defense doesn't win them games, the offense does. And unlike the Dolphins, where the defense won the games, I think that the Broncos are going to be offense heavy. Russell Wilson, I mean, we haven't seen him right on a team other than the Seahawks, but week in and week out, he is an elite quarterback, and he definitely has a lot left in the tank. And I think that Jerry Jeudy, like the hype is there because he's a young and fast wide receiver, and Wilson's had success with these types of wide receivers, and Colin Sutton, sadly he hasn't had the best quarterbacks, and now he's going to have a shot. I just think that everyone on the Broncos has a chip on their shoulder. Javonte Williams is going to solidify himself as a top 10 running back at the end of the season. I really believe that. So this is an offense-heavy team. I really think they can make the Super Bowl. I don't know. I'm just so on this Broncos hype train. And it's kind of good because they haven't had the hype since Peyton Manning. Or I guess when Drew Lock came out of college. But
yeah, you got them the highest, but we've all got them pretty close. I have a team that I think is probably a team I think could get to the AFC Championship game at number 6. I have the Chargers at number 6. By the way, I'll note this is my third AFC West team I've named. You guys know the team I haven't named. I think you guys have them on the other side of the division. The Chargers, you mentioned J.C. Jackson and Khalil Mack. I think those are big acquisitions. I love Herbert. I question their coach because if you remember the last game of the season, the Raiders were going to play for the tie.
Yeah, I know that.
And he called a timeout and cost them a chance to go to the playoffs. Stupid. Just the stupidest thing I think I've seen from a coach in my life. You have to question game management skills. That's all I can say. So that's why I have them 6 instead of probably 3, to be quite honest. I feel like there's a fatal flaw there mentally. I don't know whether it's ego or just plain stupidity or lack of awareness. That game, I was rooting for the Raiders. My dad's a Raiders fan, and but was happy to see them both get in. They both deserved to get in. It was a hell of a game. The Raiders were letting them tie the game, and they called the timeout, and the Raiders said, okay, fine, we'll win if you're going to make us. Dumbest thing I think I've ever seen. Cost them the playoffs. Ridiculous. That's why they're 6 instead of 3, quite frankly.
Top 5, here we go.
Chargers. It's that easy. Look, they're building a team much like I wish. Look, they will forever be linked to Miami to me because it was the whole Herbert Tua thing. But it was also we drafted very close to where they've been in the last couple of years, and the Chargers made their moves quicker, right? They got better faster. And they know what they're doing. They go out and get, the pieces they need on defense. They know they're going to support this quarterback. So I think the Chargers, yeah, absolutely. The 5, and I could have them at 3 the same way. I do question Austin Eckler. We'll see what happens with that, but I do think another really talented running back who was injured last year. I think he came out of UCLA, but I mean, there's other talent there.
I see a Walt Dog in the comments. I had Denver 4th on the division. Isaac, what do you got?
Hunt at number 5.
5.
FL teams. Tampa Bay Buccaneers here at 5.
Oh, okay. The lowest.
Yeah. Well, I guess that means you didn't have the Buccaneers. Look, I like what the Buccaneers are doing. The reason I don't have them 1 through 4 is because, I mean, I know Tom Brady's Tom Brady, and he still had so many passing touchdowns last year and passing yards, but he is not going to be better than last year. That I could guarantee. The running back room scares me. And to be honest, like obviously Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are still there. They've been here forever. but the defense isn't as good. I mean, you still have the same guys: Devin White, Levante David, Shaquille Barrett, Sean Murphy Bunting, and Antoine Winfield, Carlton Davis, Vita Vea. It's the same people. Obviously, they added Akeem Hicks, but the loss of Sue, I think, is big. And honestly, 5 is just so good. Like, I just think that the teams 1 through 4 that I have are just better than the Bucks. Like, Brady's gonna be great, but Leonard Fournette, I'm sorry, he's not a good running back anymore. And at this point, that is what holds. Are you okay, Jeremiah?
Playoff Lenny, baby. I'm just saying.
I know,
Look,
I know. Hey, but my 1 through 4, they're just better than the Bucks. And if the Bucks had like a talented running, imagine if the Bucks had someone like Jonathan Taylor, they'd be.
that wouldn't be fair.
You know, if the Saints had a guy like Aaron Rodgers, oh my God, come on.
That wouldn't
You
make
swung
a
for the
difference.
fence on that one, right?
Aaron Rodgers doesn't like throwing slants. Come on.
Oh,
He does, actually.
I'm joking. I mean, does he? I don't know. Anyway, let's move on to Jeff's number 5.
Highest, I have them the highest of anyone. The Las Vegas Raiders, I got number 5. I think the acquisition of Devontae Adams is obviously huge. Hunter Renfrow is a stud. Darren Waller, unbelievable weapon. Jacobs, I think Carr is plenty capable. The O-line's capable. The thing that doesn't get talked enough about, I think Isaac mentioned it, or Jeremiah, one of you mentioned it, Chandler Jones getting added to this defensive line opposite of Max Crosby. Oh, my Lord. This team is going to be in the backfield constantly. I mean, it's a scary team they've got.
Derek Carr always adds an element to every single game. And the Raiders always on national TV. They're going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I think the Raiders are legit Super Bowl contender. I have them behind a couple teams that I would very easily say they probably would beat, but I'm factoring in a little bit of last season in my top 5, to be quite honest with you.
By the way, I don't know if you guys like this, but we still have number 4 to go. But when we get to the top 3, we should do 3, 2, 1 in a group, because
I say we do it 4, 3, 2, 1.
We can do a 4, the top 4.
The only reason I was not going to do that is because our 3 teams actually.
We both have we all 3 have 3 teams that have not been named yet.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go number 4. Jeremiah, who do you got?
I don't like this one because I think they could end up way down the list, but they made the Super Bowl. Cincinnati. There's still a part of me that says you caught lightning in a bottle. It happens. Teams get hot. Young teams get hot. And they can never quite find that again. I don't know that I believe in their defense that much. I think they really got exposed as they moved through the playoffs. We'll see. I mean, if Burrow and Chase continue to be who they are and Mixon plays like he did through the playoffs, then they're a top 4 team. But I could very easily go the other direction. But obviously, I hate the AFC North, the rest of that trash division. Like, they should be 8-0. They shouldn't lose a game in their division.
Isaac?
Spot on. Give me the Bengals at 4 as well. And, look, let's say I did not watch a single NFL game last season. I was not on social media. And I'm looking at this team. I would put like the Bengals at around 10, 11, 12. But simply because they made the Super Bowl with a very similar roster, it could be exactly the same. I don't know. But the team really is basically the same. I have to put them this high at 4. Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. I really like your point, Jeremiah, about like having a young team and not being able to find that like connection again. So we'll see like what happens between Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. But either way, they're both very talented. And again, if they made the Super Bowl last year and they have a very similar roster, you have to put them at the top of the list. So I think 4 is very good.
Yeah. I got the Bucks at 4.
Okay.
And I might drop them, honestly, thinking about the center position. Ryan Jensen, who, look, as a division rival, I hate him because he's a dirty player, and he's just a guy who plays to the echo of the whistle. So you hate playing against a guy like that. You also hate to see a guy like that get a season-ending injury. Then the day before Tom Brady decides to take a 10-day vacation during training camp, because that's normal, the backup center gets carted off the field. So not sure. Tom Brady is pretty – actually, there's one thing that makes Tom Brady pretty irritated, and that's pressure, especially when it comes up the middle. 2 new guards, third string center, or presumably they're going to get – I think Treader might still be a free agent. Presumably they're going to make a move to get some vet center in there, but going to have a whole new interior offensive line this year. I don't know, man. I think I might be having them too high. Also, look, I know this is sacrilege to possibly say this, but Brady needing to take 2 weeks off of training camp, and it's not for any family health issues. They made that very clear. This is just personal business he needed to attend to, and it was negotiated with the team prior. Don't tell me this guy's all bought in. I mean, I don't like the vibe that's here in Tampa. This is a guy who didn't want to be here. He only came back by forcing Arians to get off the sideline because Arians is an asshole, and everyone knows he's not a good coach. I don't know. So the Bucks, I don't think are going to win the division, but I still put them 4 because I have to weigh in history a little bit in my rankings, and that's where my top 3 factor into a little bit. But let's go. I guess top 3, 3, 2, 1. Jeremiah, what do you got?
Do you think it was a coincidence that maybe Brady's vacation fell right around the time that Ross got suspended? I don't know. No, I'm just playing. Look, here's the thing. My 3, I'll go Tampa Bay. And then 2 and 1, we'll talk about with Buffalo and the Rams. Tampa, here's the deal. Isaac, you had some very interesting points. Jeff, you did too. I like, Jeff, I'll steal your Matt Ryan line. Like, I hated Tom Brady until he came to Tampa. Now I respect this guy. And like, everything that Isaac was saying, I heard myself saying about the Patriots 7-8 years ago. It's the same defense. It's the same running backs. And Tom Brady's another year older. They can't just, yeah, they can. Yeah, he can. He just does. Until Brady proves otherwise, he's going to be in the picture for the Super Bowl, I think. But the offensive line's a scary part. Buffalo to me is number 2, just because they still got to prove it, and I don't trust the running game. I mean, maybe James Cook adds something to that. Singletary, Moss, none of those guys that they've taken shots at have panned out. I still think Cole Beasley is going to come to earth. I don't think Cole Beasley is who we saw as he was. And then the Rams, I'm with you, Jeff. To me, the only difference in the Rams is Beckham's gone, and they brought in Allen Robinson. So many would argue that's an upgrade. Yeah, that's my 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Isaac? I know you got the Chiefs, Bills, and Rams in some order.
Yeah. At 3, give me the Chiefs. I like I still like the team. Like, obviously, Juju Smith-Schuster is not Tyreek Hill. But honestly, like, let's give the Chiefs credit. Like, if you're going to lose Tyreek Hill and you need to replace them, I mean, besides Devontae Adams, because he was available. Like, oh, he wasn't. Really?
He was only going to the Raiders.
Yes, I know. I just took that back before you said that. But, hey, Juju Smith-Schuster is, take this how you want it, but a good replacement for Tyreek Hill. Why I say that? He is one of the best wide receivers that Kansas City could have got. He is no Tyreek Hill. No one's a Tyreek Hill except Jalen Waddle, but they're on the same team now. But anyway, you get my point. Juju Smith-Schuster is a good replacement for Tyreek Hill. You still have Kelsey, and you still have Patrick Mahomes. you're going to win games. So I like the Chiefs at 3. I know that's higher than you guys, right? So, yeah, give me Juju. I think that, like, Juju's been good with Big Ben. Obviously, Juju was with Big Ben in his prime, and Juju was still good these past few seasons with the non-prime Big Ben. I really think Juju's going to look even better with Mahomes as Tyreek Hill did. So maybe Tyreek Hill's not as good as he was, but whatever. No more Dolphins talk, because at number 2, give me... Actually, number 1 will go first. I think that gives it away. Number 1, give me the Bills. I know the Rams just won the Super Bowl, and I'm a Dolphin fan, so it hates me. But Josh Allen is so good. It's so hard for a defense to stop him. And Stephon Diggs is also so good. It's just a perfect match. And the Bills' running game is not scary. It really hasn't been. But what is scary is the Bills' defense. I mean, signing Von Miller is a heck of a signing. I mean, that's why. I mean, they've always been Super Bowl contenders, but it is getting them closer to actually winning the Super Bowl, obviously. And I don't really know. I can't say now if I think the Bills are going to make the Super Bowl, but if I had them at 1, it would mean that they'd get close. And yeah, so number 2, I have the Rams. We know what they do. I don't know. I just feel like the Rams are going to be better not the Rams. The Bills are going to be better this year. But yeah, Jeff, I know you said earlier that like you like when the Super Bowl team is won the next year, but I don't think that has to be like a principle. I don't think that has to be a rule. I really think the Bills are going to be better this year. So that's just my reason.
Hey, look, I agree with you. My rule is the Super Bowl champions are number 1 until they lose at least one game. And I think the Bills and Rams play each other in week 1, and I will be picking the Bills to win that game. However, my top 3, I got the Bengals number 3, the Bills number 2, the Rams number 1. Okay. The Bills are my pick to win the Super Bowl this year. The Rams are just, again, that's my personal rule anytime I do power rankings is the champion's the champion. I don't care if they lost half their roster. I'm still going to put them number 1 until they get taken down. That's just my rule. It makes it easy. So I got the Rams 1, Bills 2, Bengals 3. Bengals, I can see why you guys, I mean, you both have them 4, so it's not like I have them much higher. I can see exactly what you guys say. I could see them, if they were in a tougher division, I could see them missing the playoffs. They were only 10-7 last year. Like, it wasn't like they blew the doors off the league. I mean, there is something to think of. They got a little bit better on the offensive line. I wish they got a lot better on the offensive line because that's their biggest weakness. Defensively, I think they're middle of the pack, kind of up. I think Burrow and those young receivers, though, Boyd, Higgins, and obviously Chase, and Uzomah, I can't say his name right, the tight end. I mean, I like this offensive attack so much. If they progress the way they did from, they'll be right back in the mix. No, and real quick, I mean, look, our rankings, we all have the Bills and Rams as the top 2 teams in the league. I don't think there was a single team aside from, I think you, Jeremiah, you had the Eagles at 10, Isaac at 15, and me at 18. So even that is not that much of a stretch. Yeah. I think that might be your 10 and my 18 might be the furthest. And the Raiders I had at 5, you had at 13. Those are not really those far of reaches. I think we all pretty close to each other as far as our predictions. The last thing I think we'd be remiss if we did not address, although Isaac's disappeared.
I think we finally, through this power rankings, completely drained Isaac's computer. We'll see if he bounces back in, and he's coming back.
So rookie move. Last thing, this is preseason. This is nothing to commit to because we don't have any differences. Really, no vast differences in our power rankings. Super early, you can change it, before the season starts. Super Bowl matchup and winner, if you had to pick right now, Jeremiah, do you have one?
Man, just because it's never what you think it's going to be, I'm going to say Minnesota versus Buffalo, and Buffalo breaks the curse.
It would be two franchises that
It
have
would
had
be.
bad luck in Super Bowls.
It would be. Yeah.
Isaac.
Broncos over the Bills.
Well, they can't play in the Super Bowl. In the AFC Championship
You're still
game.
thinking of Russell. You're still thinking of Russell Wilson being with Seattle.
I have to
Yes,
end
he
my
is.
night there. I have to end my night there.
We're leaving it.
All right.
AFC,
That's the
all right,
AFC Championship.
AFC Championship. That's what we're looking forward to over the Super
Well, that
Bowl.
kind of is the Super Bowl, isn't it?
All right, I can't give you an answer. I guess
No.
okay.
We'll
Wait.
do it
If I
again
had the
before the season.
Broncos beating the Bills in the Super Bowl, then I guess the Broncos would win the AFC Championship. Who would I have out of the NFC? Who did I have number one out of my NFC teams? The Buccaneers. I had the Rams. Oh, I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna leave you guys hanging. I'm not gonna give you an answer. We'll come up with one.
All
I think
right.
that's fair enough.
I got the
Fair
Bills
enough.
over the Saints.
That's a shocker. Look, the NFC is wide open. That's the reason
Hey,
I
at
felt
least we
okay
didn't say
with
the
saying.
Dolphins.
Look, I felt okay saying Minnesota because the NFC is wide open.
Hey, the only reason I didn't say the Dolphins is because we got a bad quarterback. Again, if Bridgewater's the quarterback, we're winning the Super Bowl.
On that note,
jeez. Look,
Hey,
look,
folks.
Isaac. Yeah, Isaac. It's time to call tonight, big guy. Have you been sipping
my-
drinks over there? What's going
My
down?
computer's at 1%. So
Okay, we're done.
my
We're
drink's
done.
at
This has been a long
1%.
one.
Hey, for Jeremiah Hensley, Isaac
Jesus.
Edelman, Jeff Macolino.
The longest FL
team.
teams live ever.
Woo! The marathon. I've been doing the PP dance for 30 minutes. All right. See you, folks. We'll have a lot of football coverage coming your way. Follow FL teams everywhere you can do it. And peace.
See you, bye.